Well, you driving me crazy. Just a little bit set your soul. They did the boogie woogie with a study roll. They mess around. They're doing the mess around. They're doing the mess around. Everybody doing the mess around. Now, when I say stop, don't you move a peg. When I say go, just shake your leg and do the mess around. I declare, do the mess around. Yeah, do the mess around. Everybody's doing the mess around. Now let me have it, yeah, boy. That thing, mess around. I declare she can mess around. Mess around. Everybody do the mess around. One, two, three. One, two, three. Somebody help me say it one time. Unchain my heart.
Okay, everybody, we need a little help with the chain crew tonight. If you are so willing to be down on the field watching the game and holding those chains, please go on down across and meet Mr. Bethany over by the locker room. We'd greatly appreciate it.
I was alone, it was a ride, didn't know when I was fine. Another road, we're really high, see other side. And then I saw you in the sea, and then I tell you that I need every single day of my life. Didn't run, didn't lie. I wanna hold you.
me, ladies and gentlemen, we need one more person for that special chain gang over there by the locker room. Please, if you're so inclined to be down on the field during the game and watch the action up close, please meet Mr. Bethany over there by those bright yellow stakes. How about the bright orange ones instead? And focus your attention to the track. We're going to introduce the Lutheran High School cheerleaders in sapphire. Just trying to throw them off. Lutheran High School. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome tonight's guests, the Duchesne Pioneers. Good evening, football fans. Welcome to Lutheran High School, St. Charles for tonight's game between the Pioneers from Duchesne High School and your Lutheran High School Cougars. As members of the Missouri State High School Activities Association, this is a reminder that good sportsmanship is a high school tradition. These teams know and accept the responsibility of being leaders in sportsmanship in their schools. We welcome everyone to Lutheran High and wish both teams good luck in tonight's game. At this time, would everyone please rise, remove your hats for prayer, and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem. We pray. Lord God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to compete this evening. We thank you for the abilities you have blessed these student athletes with and given them the spirit of competition to play this game of football. Please bless the coaches and officials with wisdom in their handling of the players. Keep everyone safe from injury and allow fans to demonstrate good sportsmanship so this they may glorify you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Tonight, the national anthem will be sung by Lutheran High School student Hope Vandeventer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You don't need me? You sure? All right.
As the captains meet in midfield for the coin toss, we'd like to introduce and welcome tonight's officials. Referee Mike Nunnery, umpire Pat Richards, lineman Jeff Calloway, line judge Charles Causey, and back judge Tom Sloboda. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out and helping us out tonight.
Good evening, football fans, and do you know what night it is? It is Friday Night Football in America. We come to you live from Lutheran High School in St. Charles County with a nice contest tonight between crosstown rivals Duchesne Pioneers and your Lutheran High School Cougars. I'm alongside Doug, Mr. Walker, and Doug Coolming. Doug, what do you take on tonight's ball game?
Well, it's interesting. We're starting at 7:30, Brian. You know, that's a first piece of the puzzle here that kind of getting after a little bit early, or a little bit later. But that's due to the referee shortage that we're going through here in Missouri, and we're going through nationally. So it's kind of an interesting start. But I'm excited to get going with the game, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. As our captains go out for the coin toss, looks like the Lutherans actually win the coin toss, and they have elected to receive. We had Aaron Coffey and Aiden McLean, Arlen Harris Jr. and Christian Polk as the captains for Lutheran High Cougars. And on the other side of the coin, we had Nathan DeGintz and Mr. Mathis and Segudo for Duchesne High School and their captains. You know, Duchesne comes off 2 victories. They're 2-0 starting out the season to Lutheran Cougars, 1-1 season so far. Lutheran playing a very strong Denver Parker, Colorado team, as well as Chaminade last week, and Chaminade we ended up beating them pretty good there, Doug.
You know, we were at that game, Brian, and I'll tell you, the chips just fell where we needed them to be, you know, as a Cougar fan, where our defense was clicking, our offense was clicking, and it was a good night to be a Cougar, and I think we just caused a lot of fits for Chaminade. Likewise, too, Brian, you mentioned about Duchesne coming in 2-0, and 2 solid victories over Lift for Life, first game of the season, then over Macon. Both of them are strong Class 2 programs here, so who both expect to make some noise in the playoffs as well. So Duchesne has arguably 2 better wins than the Cougars have, just to the one the Cougars do have, Brian.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Lift for Life, Duchesne beat them 14-6, and with Macon, they beat them 21-14. So only one score separated the 2 wins for both of those weeks. But you know, when you have 2 strong wins against 2 strong opponents with close scores that way, it just means that you're going to be in for a battle, whoever you play.
I think so, and I think, you know, looking over at the head coach over there, the Pioneers, for many, many moons. I've been in St. Charles 22 years, and he's been the coach 22 plus. So I don't know how long he's been there. You might know, Brian, but Coach Elmendorf does a great job and always gets his kids ready to play year in, year out. And obviously with some of the talent that he has this year, he's going to do what he has to do to win those games, and they have done that the first 2 games of the week, or the season, Brian. Absolutely,
and Charlie Elmendorf has been a staple for a long, long time at Duchesne High School, much like Mr. Stahl at St. Charles West High School. He's been a staple at St. Charles West as well, and Charlie Elmendorf has been at Duchesne for many, many years.
You know, Mike Stahl is also a staple. Side note, I see him working out at Club Fitness every couple mornings about 5 a.m. So that guy, he's always bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I'm rolling in there, you know, with my eyes halfway closed. But he is always so fun to talk to. I think an old football coach and just a great educator. So I think you named a couple of good ones there in St. Charles County, Brian.
Yeah, and Stahl is also an awesome individual, an awesome man, as is Charlie Elmendorf. You know, it wasn't that long ago, actually it was 1982, that Duchesne went to the high school playoffs, made it all the way to the state championship, and went to Arrowhead Stadium to play against, I don't know who they played against, but they ended up losing a very, very close scored ball game, and right before Duchesne played, the crosstown rivals, not Lutheran High School, but St. Charles High School, played a 1982 state championship game as well, and one of our referees, Mr. Jeff Calloway, was actually on that team.
Really?
He was.
Really? Man, you are just a wealth of knowledge, my friend. A St. Charles original, like I heard you say the other day at the prayer breakfast for businessmen at St. Charles County. So that was awesome, Brian.
Tell us a little bit more about that prayer breakfast of St. Charles.
You know, it was a wonderful experience. I had the opportunity to sit up front and sit next to Pat Morley before he gave the message that day about his book, Man in the Mirror. And it was just a phenomenal, good opportunity for us to gather as Christians here in St. Charles County and learn more about our God and about the God that we need to strive to have the relationship with. But to be in that room with 500 other men and women, Brian, at the prayer breakfast, of which I believe you played a pretty big part in organizing, didn't you?
I have the honor, and I'm very fortunate to be part of a team on the committee that actually puts that together, and I've been doing it for 26 years now, not me personally, but the prayer breakfast has been on schedule for 26 years, and you know, it's one of those things that when you can bring one person to Christ with a prayer breakfast, and he understands what it means to be able to live a godlike life, it's been a success.
Absolutely, Brian, absolutely. And it looks just about time that we're ready to go here. Our 5th official just arrived. He was officiating a game up in Hazelwood here at 4:15 kickoff, I believe. So he's going to do double duty tonight. He's going to get his. He's going to make his money.
A little bit of OT tonight,
Absolutely. Looks like we're going to have the Pioneers kicking off to the Cougars here, Brian.
They are. We're going to have deep for us, AJ, and we also have McLean deep for us, and we'll see how this goes. Doug, I'm going to predict, as I'd like to hear your thought processes on this as well, but this is going to be a pretty tight ball game.
It is 100% going to be a tight ball game here. You know, we've talked about Duchesne and the talent that they have. I can guarantee you here the Cougars are going to start with the ball on the 20-yard line, because this kicker here, we're going to talk about him more, but Segudo, he's going to put in the end zone every single time he kicks. And he's going to be lining up, I guarantee it, for a 40-yard field goal if they can't punch one in the end zone here, Brian. So I love watching him play. He's such a great kicker and a punter for the Pioneers.
You know, it's pretty interesting. Last year, the Pioneers at Duchesne ended up going up big against the Cougars as we await the kickoff here to Doug Chagrin Segudo. He's ready to take this one, and he kicks it pretty dang hard, if you will. It's all the way down to the 10-yard line. AJ gets the ball, and he's taking it up the left-hand side, trying to make the corner. He does turn the corner. Nice little stiff arm. He jukes a couple people, takes another person down, and gets across the 42-yard line for the Cougars.
I'm a little surprised that one didn't go in the end zone. I know the wind's blowing in his face, but he's got a heck of a leg, so he probably just wants to see what we can do on the run back there, and AJ gets some nice yardage up the left side, Brian.
First and 10 Cougars from the 42. Actually, they marked it at the 43-yard line. As I was saying before, last year Duchesne got up really big on the Cougars, and the Cougars came back and beat them on their home field at Duchesne, and then they met them in the playoffs, and Duchesne got the better of them 16-13 as AJ takes the handoff right up the middle. He's running hard. He ended up breaking some ankles to get all the way down to the Cougars' 35-yard line. Nice run.
Well, you had the left side of the offensive line there just washed the right side of the Pioneers' defensive line down, and nice zone blocking up front. AJ put his foot in the ground, nice jump cut to burst up the middle for about 25 yards, Brian.
Yeah, you know AJ is really smooth, isn't he, Doug?
He is. Effortless when he runs, Brian.
We'll take 20 yards every time as Coffee takes the handoff and hands it to the short back, and AJ's younger brother Aiden, and he didn't get anywhere on that as Duchesne Pioneers sniffed that one out for a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, nice play by the Pioneer defense there, Brian, getting good penetration up the middle and wreaking some havoc by the Cougars.
You know, it looks like Coffee, as he's given the signal in here, it's going to be interesting to see also, Doug, whether they do a lot of running tonight or whether they mix it up a little half and half or if they throw a lot more. Coffee had an awesome game last week, going 17-21 for a lot of yards. And, of course, AJ had a big night as well as Coffee goes up top. And he hits a nice little pass to the outside. Duchesne gets it, and number 34, Rod Gibson, ended up making a catch on that.
Yeah, you know, and that's what Duchesne's going to bring the pressure there, Brian, and they're going to keep stacking the box with, you know, at least 8 guys, if not 9. They drop their safety down in the box there and kind of daring the Cougars to throw the ball. Chaminade did the same thing last week, and Cougars kind of lit up Chaminade's secondary, so we'll see if the Cougars can have the same success in the air as they did last week against Chaminade, Brian.
Absolutely. It's 3rd and 10 at the Cougars' 38-yard line as Coffee takes a snap from the shotgun, gives it to AJ. He's going out to the right-hand side. Misses a tackle for the Duchesne Pioneers, and he lunges forward. He's close to a first down.
Looks like he's just short there about a half yard or a yard. Looks like what you referenced earlier, Jeff Callaway. So Jeff Callaway on the far side there has him just about a half yard short. Good call.
Yeah, it was a good call. It's 4th and a half yard, and the Cougars going to stay on the football field. And, you know, my guess is hand it off to AJ, run up behind somebody, and see if they can get a first down.
Yeah, going in the full house backfield there with 2 lead backs with AJ behind him. So you're either going to think play action here for a short one or we're going to go up the middle, like you said, Brian.
Coffee's in a shotgun, hands it off to AJ. He's going around the left end, and he gets caught from behind. Wow, he did not make the first down. Number 17 for Duchesne, Mathis, ended up almost horse collaring him, bringing him down to the ground for the loss.
A good play by Mathis. You know, I thought AJ had the edge there, but Mathis made a nice play to give the Pioneers the ball here.
Yeah, I agree with that. It almost seemed like he came out of nowhere, and because I too thought that AJ had the corner, but Mathis ended up being able to reach out and grab him from behind and bring him down.
Yeah, good first drive for the Cougars though to move the ball down to the Pioneer end of the field, Brian, and give the Pioneers first down from their own 30 here.
Yeah, if it's any indication early on, we may have a battle between the 30s here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pioneers are going 2 wide receivers on the far side and 2 on the near side, and they set one guy in motion, and they hand it off to him as number 2 goes around the corner, Rob Jones. He tries to make the corner, but we stuff him pretty quickly, and he gets maybe a half a yard.
Yeah, it's one of those you run 20 yards and pick up a yard there, Brian. I think that the speed from edge to edge for both of these teams, that's a play that the Pioneers are going to keep running. The Cougars have the speed to keep up with it. Likewise, if the Cougars run that kind of jet sweep action, the Pioneers have more than enough speed to catch up with the Cougars as well.
Pioneers once again come up to the line as Teron Pete, number 5, is the quarterback. And he's the lone person in the backfield as they have all kinds of wide receivers. And looks like we had some motion on the line there.
Yeah, it looks like our left defensive end there got jumped offside. So I want to say that's a coaching piece that Coach Elmendorf probably noticed watching film against the Cougars, that they're wanting to fly off the football. So he probably told his quarterback, let's go on 2 here and kind of slow down that pass rush of the Cougars, Brian.
You know, there is an art to having a hard count, is there not, to be able to try and draw everybody off lines and offsides and shoot. If you can pick up 5 yards every time you do it, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Pete from the shotgun once again. We have a player in motion. He hands off to the up back, and that read was not there, and he just pretty much got met by a pride of Cougars.
Yeah, he really did there. Nice play by the Cougars interior. I mean, you got 2 stud defensive tackles there. They're probably not going to give up too much up the gut there.
They are not. Rustemeyer was leading the charge on that one, and he's an Arkansas State commit.
Yeah, great kid and has done some awesome stuff. It was awesome to see, last week against Chaminade, a school that he attended as a freshman, then transferred over here to Lutheran High to now be a senior and be able to play against a lot of your old teammates from a number of years ago. So fun for him to get a win last week and for the Cougars to get that win against Chaminade.
Pioneers are coming into the line. It's 3rd and 5, and they're having a very similar setup as they had before, as they look to throw and they throw it out to the flats, and that one's going to be pretty close to a first down.
I think they're going to give it to him there. It looks like we have the first down by about a half yard. So nice play call by Coach Elmendorf, Brian.
Yeah, Terrell Pete was the receiver on that one. Nice little play. That's all they needed was 5 yards, and it was a good play call.
I think that's what you're going to see tonight from the Pioneers, just a real patient offense and, running out wide, running in the middle. Now you got a short throw. Obviously they were aided a little bit by that offside penalty by the Cougars. So
the Pioneers definitely have some speed on the perimeter as they hand the ball off up the middle, and there is no room up the middle at all tonight so far.
Yeah, once again, Aiden Harris there just came right up the middle and stuffed that hole, Brian. Good play by the linebacker.
Absolutely, and Powell tried to come up with the football acting like it was a fumble. He wanted to take that one to the house, but they had already called the play dead. Doug, it's pretty nice to be able to see the fans in the stands. They look like they're having a good time.
They are. Hawaiian night here at Lutheran High, so kids enjoying the Hawaiian gear and the attire. I think a few people down in the press box have it on as well, our announcer and our clock people down there as well. So fun to see some of the old folks also getting into the kid action there, Brian.
Yeah, you watch out what you say when you're saying old folks. It's getting closer every day.
I'm one of those people too.
Amen. As Pete goes up top, he throws it out into the flats. And once again, Terrell Pete ends up making the catch on that, getting 6 yards. It's going to be 3rd and short for the Pioneers.
Cougars are really respecting the speed on the outside. Could give them that 5-6 yard hitch or that out route, Brian. So that's going to be one you wonder how often Coach Elmendorf is going to keep going back to that. The Cougars are going to be playing off coverage on the outside.
Well, they're going to play them soft. My thought is they're going to continue to do that as Aiden Harris actually gets up on top of him this time, and he's not going to give him any space. And we got a flag before the play takes off.
Well, and that's really going to help the Cougars there. Now you push the Pioneers back to 3rd and 9 as opposed to a 3rd and 4 here, Brian. As we click down, it's about 6.5 minutes here left in this first quarter. So one thing I wish we had on our screen there, Brian, the ability to have a score up there as well as the clock. We are working on that, and hopefully next home game we're going to have that up and running.
That would be nice. So we have 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 from the Pioneers' own 43-yard line as they line up. And once again, Pete is going to be the lone person in the backfield as the quarterback with trips on the near side and 2 wide receivers at the far end. And he's looking left, and he looks over the middle, and there's nowhere to go. And we end up sacking him for a big loss, 15 yards.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to try to wiggle out of there, but Rustemeyer got his big mitts on him, and now they're going to force a punt here. So I'm actually excited to see this punt because I want to see what the punter could do because he's, again, got a rocket leg.
He does have a rocket leg as Rustemeyer comes in and picks up the huge sack, and a little bit of wind in his face. Seguto, as he's going to line up to see if he can send this one down deep.
I think that's the key to the game tonight, too. When they do have those, 5-step drops, we call them here, out of the shotgun and the quarterback looking to throw deep, the Cougars to maintain those rush lanes because Pete is a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal scrambler. So when he gets, some space, he's going to make a man miss, especially a D lineman. So it was a great job to be able to corral him there on that third long, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Pioneers were scrambling a little bit on trying to get the right personnel out on the field, and they took a timeout with 5:33 left in the first quarter. Scores all knotted up 0-0.
Well, you got to wonder, that first drive for both teams were able to move the ball a little bit. Looks like the Pioneers were able to move it about 20 yards, and then, got a couple sacks here to kind of push them back and only gained about a couple, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. Cougars feeling them out as well, and we'll see what happens here on the second drive for the Cougars here in the first quarter.
Yeah, Doug, as they're trying to set up and sort things out, you want to give some shout-outs or at least give people your telephone number so they can text and give some shout-outs. That'd be all right,
well,
too.
Hey, the first shout-out I want to give is to the best dean of students that I know on the planet. Her name is Debbie Turner.
Nice!
Debbie Turner. So I know Debbie is watching with her boys, I think, at home tonight, so shout out to my good friend Debbie Turner, former athletic director at Duchesne and now the dean of students. She's awesome lady.
She is an awesome lady, longtime St. Charles resident as well. Hello to Debbie as well. And looks like the Pioneers are trying to draw the Cougars off sides, and Segudo gets a nice little punt into play, and we fumbled it on the initial, tried to pick up, if you will, and there wasn't anywhere to go after that. So the Cougars going to take over on the 36-yard line.
And that was a nice play by the Pioneers there to get down there and, tackle the runner before he could get going, Brian.
Yeah, he did. Thomas was the receiving recipient, if you will, of that punt, and just bounced off his hands. And once that happens, you can't get a whole lot of momentum on that, so it allowed the defense to come up and get him.
Looks like I'm watching the replay here on YouTube, Brian. It looks like, if he would have just fallen on the ball as opposed to picked it up there, he would have had the exact same spot. So that's one of those things I think kids see that in the NFL. They see it in college where they feel like they got to pick it up and go, when the reality is in high school football, you want to retain possession. You're almost better off just falling on it and, live to fight another down.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My high school football coach, Mr. Jim Williams, longtime football coach for St. Charles High School, would always tell us, just fall on the ball. I can still hear it.
You still hear it here. A couple years later from when you're in high school, huh?
Yeah, just a few.
There you go.
So Doug also wanted to be able to at least recognize we had some pretty emotional and touching times in St. Charles just this last week when they brought the hero back from Afghanistan who lost his life,
yeah.
Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, and we wanted to be able to at least recognize him and for his valiant defense of our country, and just thank him and his family for what he did. I mean, some gave all, and he definitely gave all.
Amen, Brian.
Well, they're still trying to sort some things out here on the football field. Looks like a lot of confusion on both sides of the ball with the umpires and the referees trying to figure out what's going on. Now that they figured it out, they're going to huddle up and see what they can do here.
Part of that was just the mid-quarter break. We're still mandated by the state association to have a mid-quarter break here in week 3, and I want to say that might go to week 4. So, where you have to give the kids an extra opportunity to get a water. Obviously the heat is not as big a concern tonight as it has been earlier in the season. So,
now please remove it from the field.
If you couldn't hear it, our announcer Jim Clark at home, there's apparently a drone that is being operated somewhere inside of the fenced area, and that is against MSHA rules to have a drone going inside the stadium. So whoever that was will need to move it.
At first, I thought we had a TV timeout there for a little while, and Rod Gibson takes the counterplay about 6 yards to the right side before he gets tackled by the Pioneers. Looks like number 42 on the Pioneers, Paulette. ended up making the stop on that one.
And what's great about that play is if you just watch the three linebackers in the middle there, they just flowed right where A.J. went. So A.J. went to the left, whereas Rod came back to the right and had a wide open running lane there to get 5 yards on first down, Brian.
Yeah, it looks like 2nd and 5 as Coffey takes the handoff, gives it to A.J. right up the middle. He's got a long way to go and made some nice little cuts. He's getting chased from behind, long run, and got caught all the way down to the 10-yard line.
Well, that was I probably jinxed him there. I called touchdown. Not many people can catch him there, so nice run by A.J. up the gut.
Yeah, the junior Rob Jones ended up having the angle on him, but A.J., he turned the afterjets on, and nice run.
Yeah, I think that's a touchdown saving by Jones there. He's got some giddy up if he's able to catch A.J. once A.J.'s in the open field, Brian. Nice play by the young man Jones.
Absolutely, and that is about the 2nd or 3rd time A.J. had that ball up the middle and did a nice little cut, and he started taking it to the house. Just a little short this time as Coffey takes it from the shotgun and hands it off to younger Harris Aiden as he's getting a couple of yards on the right-hand side, 2nd down, about 7.
Tough run by Aiden over on the right side. Didn't look like there was much of a hole there, but he was able to squeeze through for 3 yards on first down. You want a positive play on first down. We've seen that when the Cougars get that positive play on first down the first 2 games of the season. Typically the drives go well for the Cougars, Brian.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You look at A.J., and he's the feature back, but they're also giving Aiden a lot of opportunity, too, as he's going to be the future back, you would think, or feature back, and he's pretty tough. He's going to put his nose in there and grind pretty hard. A.J. gets the handoff. He goes up the middle, gets stood up right at the line. There was nowhere to go there.
Yeah, he really did. Look like he had an open hole on the right side, but he just kind of got stuffed in the middle there. So good defensive play by the Pioneers, because they're really bringing the heat. If you look, Brian, they're running that forefront, but then they're really blitzing those linebackers in the A gaps and the B gaps. And if you break one there like AJ did earlier, there's going to be a lot of green space until the safety back there, Jones, caught him here on the last couple of plays. So if we can clear that first line of the defense with all those gaps, the ball could travel quite a ways here, Brian.
Yeah, Lee Jackson was on the tackle, junior, 6 foot, 300 pounds, defensive lineman. He was not fooled on that one and was ready for A.J. as he came across the right-hand side. Looked like he might have had an opportunity to cut to the outside, but didn't get there quite in time as Coffey looks to the right-hand side, throws it, and throws it a little bit behind Aiden Harris as he was out in the flats. It's going to be 3rd down at about 6.
Yeah, well, that was a nice play call on 3rd down there. Look, if Coffey would have led Aiden a little bit more, probably would have walked into the end zone. But again, you're at the end of the first quarter here. Jitters are still getting. You got 2 good football teams going at it. This is a big play in the first part of the game here, Brian, to be 4th and 7 with 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. The score's tied 0-0. Cougars are on the prowl, if you will, as Coffey's in the backfield from the shotgun. We got trips to the near side, a solo back in the outside, and he's looking to the outside to the end zone. And boy, that was a gimme touchdown that just went right through the hands of Michael Parr Jr.
Yeah, that's a play you're probably going to want back. Michael's going to go back and look at that again on film and say, nuts, I should have caught that. So that'll come around. Good drive by the Cougars to be able to move the ball, about 55, 60 yards down the field, come up empty, but a good drive to go back on defense now for the
afterwards, and it's going to be touchdown Pioneers.
Touchdown Pioneers, number 4, Terrell P.
Terrell P. went up pretty high on that one, and the defense was trying to knock the ball down, and the ball just went up over top of him, and Terrell P. was able to get that, and wow, 60-plus yards. That was a heck of a throw and great run afterwards as well.
In to attempt the extra point.
So little technical difficulties, in case you're wondering. There was a 60-plus yard pitch and catch, and the Pioneers ended up scoring on a long play. 28 seconds left in the first quarter, 6-0. Segudo with the kick on the point after attempt, and it's good. Pioneers end up going up 7-0 with 28 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think, sorry about that, folks. We lost our feed up here a minute ago. Now we are back, and like Brian said, good play by the Pioneers to strike first here to go up 7-0, Brian.
Yeah, Pete threw the ball up, and we had a couple defenders around the younger Pete, and sure enough, we went up trying to block the ball away, and it just got over the top of our fingertips and got into the younger Pete's hands, and to the house he went. Actually, it was the older Pete's hands. To the house he went.
Absolutely. Good play. Nice play by brother to brother, Brian. That's always fun to see.
Yes, it is. No doubt about that. We got AJ and also McLean coming for the receiving side for the Cougars as we line up, and we got a little bit of a break now as our cheerleaders and dance squad for the Cougars are entertaining the crowd right now, and tell you what, they are doing a nice job and led pretty well by a great coach.
They really are. You know, she's done a nice job with them and have had a couple state showings, and just fun to watch. Brian, dance team, Sapphires here at Lutheran High.
Once again, the young man with the big legs, Segudo, is going to line up, and he's counting to make certain he has all the right players on the field right now for the Pioneers. As the ball is placed on the 40-yard line on the tee, and they're looking to see what they may want to do here. Once again, we have AJ back and McLean back, and this could be very, very likely the last play of the first quarter. Little punch shot. They don't want to take any chances on that, and McLean gets it up front, and he gets stuck right away. And Cougars going to take over on the 24-yard line, and time for the Cougars to man up, if you will, and take this ball to the other way.
Yeah, you know, they've had a couple of real good drives, just haven't been able to punch it in. I think, you know, a couple of plays here and there we've missed on. The Pioneers have hit on, henceforth lead this game 7-0 as the first quarter ticks down, Brian.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the football game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys last night, as it was going back and forth quite a bit. And I have to tell you, Dak Prescott looked really good coming back from those injuries.
He did. First, it was fun to have the NFL back, and Dak also made a lot of nice throws, and 400 yards.
400 yards, not too bad, as McLean takes one from the outside in the flats, and he hammers a couple of Pioneers down, gets across the 50-yard line, and nice little pitch and catch right there.
Boy, yeah, that's just one of those ones where it's kind of look at me and throw it to me here is what Coffey did there, and makes a couple men miss and get down the field.
Cougar first down from the 49-yard line into enemy territory of the Pioneers, and we have a flag on the play. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, looks like somebody must have jumped, so now we're going to be ticking down and it'll be 1st and 15, Brian. That's one of those unforced errors that we just can't have. We've had a couple of those. You know, the one kept the drive going for the Cougars, or rather for the Pioneers, when we jumped off sides on defense, and now a self-imposed penalty like this is just that those are going to hurt you. And as the clock ticks down, Brian, I don't think we're going to get this playoff. We're going to go to the first quarter, end of the first quarter here.
It's ticking down, 2.1 seconds left, and that is the end of the first quarter. We're going to switch sides here and see what happens. So with that being said, Doug, do you have some nice sponsors that you'd like to be able to talk about?
Absolutely, Brian. Here, let me share a few of these here. First of all, our gold sponsor, Signature Orthopedics, and our silver sponsors, Athletico Physical Therapy, A&W, All American Food, and Car Shield, our silver sponsors, those three. Also our bronze sponsors, Brian, Anjon Manufacturing, AMP Restoration, Ben-Hur Construction, CertaPro Painters, Spring Green Lawn Care, the Kyle Hannigan Group, SCS Telecom Supply, Claims Adjusters, Impression Apparel, Midas Hospitality, Power D Electric, and Brannicky Hardware. Thank you very much for those businesses and their support of Lutheran High School, Brian.
Yeah, you got to love it, and you also got to love the view of the moon tonight, little sliver up in the sky, and every time I see a moon, I got to think about Mike Shannon saying, boy, you should see the moon tonight. I wish you all could see this moon tonight. Of course, we laughed a little bit about that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Got to love Mike Shannon, the iconic broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Now the Cougars are going to be at 1st and 15 here as they approach midfield. Brian, we'll see what like I said, last time they had the ball, they were able to move the ball down the field. So first play here of the drive was a good about a 25, 30-yard completion from Coffey to McLean. We'll see what they do here on the first play of the second quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can get down to the red zone and be able to punch that in, then we're going to continue to have ourselves a pretty stinking good ball game. So Coffey from the shotgun, McLean in motion, and they hand off right up the middle to AJ, and he just barrels his way for about 7 yards. He's still trying to move.
Good first play there, Brian, on 1st and 15 when you're behind the chains and able to get a nice 8-yard run up the gut. So going to kind of try to wear down the interior of that Pioneer defense, Brian.
Yeah, we have 2nd and 7 from the 46-yard line, and once again, younger Harris comes up, and boy, he is a tough runner. I got to tell you, he ended up getting about 6 yards, just short of the first down, but he took a couple licks and kept going.
He did. He's tough one. He's big. He's gonna be bigger than his brother, than AJ. But right now, just a sophomore, he still whacks. He brings the wood when he's running the football or when he's playing defense, Brian.
Ball at the 39-yard line.
So the ball's right on the 40-yard line, 3rd and just shy of 1 yard for the first down, and Coffey's lined up. We got 2 wide receivers to the near side looking deep, and Aiden Harris take the ball up middle, and he has lots of room, and he's still moving. And I got to tell you, Doug, when you have a young kid that's moving his legs like that and ends up picking up 15, 20 yards on a run, it's pretty stinking awesome.
I like what Coach Harris did on that play, Brian. He flexed out AJ, so a lot of the focus of the defense, of the Pioneer defense, is going to go towards AJ, whereas you leave Aiden in the backfield, and he's able to bust up the middle for about a 15-yard gain on a 3rd and short. So good play call by Coach Harris.
Absolutely. The Cougars inside the 20-yard line in the red zone. Coffey is in the shotgun, looking near side. Got another AJ in motion, and he's still looking to throw. Gets it out to McLean, and he ends up making about 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, missed the block on the edge there, Brian. Otherwise, that could have sprung for a few more. But nevertheless, your positive first play on first down. Cougars got to cash in. This is, I believe, is this the 3rd time they've been? No, 2nd time they've been down in the red zone. So definitely have to cash in on this drive, Brian, after moving the football 60 yards here already.
Yeah, 2nd time inside the red zone, 3rd time near the red zone, if you will, and they do have to capitalize on this. They have a pretty good offense as they're moving through from the 30s to 30s, if you will, and now we really just have to bear down as we have 2 wide receivers on both sides of the line, if you will, and Coffey's looking to the left-hand side, had a nice opportunity for AJ, and a great defensive play out there, broken up by Pete.
That's a long throw from this close hash to the far hash there on an out route. So dangerous pass, too. Coffey has got a real good arm, though, to get it out there. But Pete made a nice play on the ball, Brian, on the defensive end.
Yeah, he did. That is a dangerous play, as you were saying. I had to chuckle a little bit to myself as if he undercut that, there was about 80 yards the other way. Nobody's going to catch him.
He would not get caught, no. He's tough to get caught with people right next to him, let alone a head start like that. So Pete would have taken that one to the end zone.
Absolutely. Coffey once again from the shotgun. Looks to fake off to Aiden Harris. Keeps it up the middle. He's barreling his way all the way down to the half-yard line. Almost got in. First down, Cougars.
Well, that is a wrinkle, Brian. We have never seen that play call this year. So that's something if Coffey's able to get 15 yards on a 3rd and 9 up the gut, that's something defenses will have to prepare for. So that's a nice job by Coffey.
I would agree. He had a little bit of a cut back, a little cross back cut, if you will, and it looked like number 7, Cam Lee, was on the defensive tackle on that one.
Cougars got to cash in here now, Brian. You get down to the half-yard line, you got to punch this one in on this play.
Got 3 running backs in the backfield, flanking Coffey, and they give it right up the middle to AJ, and he barrels his way in for the Cougar touchdown.
Nice play. I like, again, what Coach Harris did on that play. Put Rod Gibson back in the tailback spot and kind of hit AJ and gave it to him off the right side. Good job by the right side of the offensive line, again, to wash down, especially when you got a big 300-pound defensive tackle there for the Pioneers. The nice run by the Cougars.
Yeah, you had Dawson Talent on the right-hand side. They just put it right behind him and had was it Rod you said was the lead back blocking as well, and AJ just pretty much was able to walk in.
Cougars going to look to take the lead here, going for the 2-point conversion, Brian.
Got McLean in motion going to the near side, and Coffey's looking to him, and he's wide open in the end zone. 2-point conversion is good.
Nice play call by Coach Harris. Coach Harris has saved a few plays here, some stuff we have not seen so far this season. So that's a nice play when you run a mesh route and throw the out. My friend Dave Steinbacher used to call that play when he was our offensive coordinator for the Cougars. So some of you watching at home know our science teacher, Dave Steinbacher. He was our football coach here in the late 90s and won a couple of district championships and did some nice stuff, and that was one of his favorite plays when you have 3 receivers and you send your number 1 receiver running an in route or a whip route, number 2 running up the middle, down the seam, and number 3 out into the flat. So we call that the old mesh route. Nice play called by Coach Harris.
So with the mesh route, Doug, do you look at 3 first and then 1 and then 2, or how do you go about doing that?
Depends on how you coach. If you're coaching like Coach Steinbacher, you throw the out route every single time. You never look to the seam. You never look to the whip. Until they take away the out, then you go back to the whip. But every coach has their different flavors, so that's just what we taught many, many moons ago.
Many moons ago. You were the head coach for how many years, Doug?
10 years. 10 years.
So you're tenured.
Does that make me tenured?
I think
Sure.
so.
Of course, the irony is my kids make fun of me. They don't even know me as a football coach because only one of them was alive when I was a football coach. So kind of fun to be able to be up here and talk these old football lingo here.
Rob Jones and 4 Terrell Pete.
So we got Rob Jones and Terrell Pete back deep for the Pioneers, hanging around the 15-yard line. And Aaron Howell looks like we might be kicking off here. Number 25, Aaron Powell, is going to be kicking off to the Pioneers with 9:08 left before halftime. The Cougars are up 8-7. Powell takes a nice little kick, line drive down to the 15-yard line, and
watch out.
Whoa. If he didn't slip and fall, he may have taken that one to the house. Rob Jones comes back for a 15-yard run. He's up to the 30-yard line, and that's where the Pioneers are going to take over, 1st and 10.
Well, he hit that 15-yard run in about less than a second. So that kid has some speed. Good for the Cougars that he was able to slip there. So otherwise, he might still be running, Brian.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, growing up, he used to go 40 yards in 4 point something, and I think he may have turned the Jets on and done 40 yards in low fours.
Absolutely right. I'll see if the Cougars can bottle up Pete at quarterback again, or if we let him get out in the open and make some plays with his feet.
Yeah, we have the lone back behind Pete right now with a player in motion, and they try to do a crossbuck trap, and Cougars weren't letting that happen at all. We had a whole bunch of people. Wanstead was on the tackle, and number 25 was on the tackle as well, Aaron Powell, and Rubio at the same time. First time we called Rubio's name tonight.
Well, Mathis is lucky it's only a 1-yard loss. He got hit in the backfield 4 yards and was able to churn his legs ahead and gain 3 yards from the backfield. Otherwise, it would have been a 4-yard loss. So he's a big boy to bring down, Brian. He's got a lot of speed in him, too. So good job by Mathis trying to make something out of nothing. His blocking kind of broke down on the right side there, Brian.
Doug, the Pioneers like to spread things out quite a bit with a lone back and 2 wide receivers on the near and the far side, and we have a stoppage in play here. Don't know if it's a timeout or not.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have somebody come out of the game. I wonder if his helmet popped off or something like that. Can't quite see who that was.
Yeah, it looks like it's Tehran Pete. They're talking to on the sideline over there. He may have an equipment malfunction.
Well, it's important to stop the game. I appreciate when officials do stop the game for helmet malfunction and or just keep the kids safe. That's why we're doing this. We want to see everyone stay safe tonight on both sides. So appreciate the officials stopping that for a second.
Pioneers have 2nd and 11 from the 28-yard line as once again they have the lone setback and 2 wide receivers on the near side and the far side. As Pete is throwing all the way and he tosses it out into the flat to another Pete, and there's a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, nice defensive play. If you look at our defensive linemen be able to hustle out there and make a nice play. Looks like we got a Cougar down. Didn't quite see who that was. Is that Rustemeyer down on the ground, Brian?
It does look like Rustemeyer down on the ground. He's face down, and he doesn't look like he's feeling too good right now.
No, looks like he got dinged up a little bit there. Hope he's okay. do need to take a moment to make a comment about the two folks we got running out there. We have number one, Mark Daniels, our athletic trainer here at Lutheran High. Appreciate the partnership that we have with Athletico to provide that service for us. And also the other one out there, Dr. Mark Hinks. Dr. Hinks has been on our sidelines here for 20 plus years. So I want to say he's been doing this at Lutheran High School, Brian, for at least 25, 26 years as our team doctor. So great to see him down the sideline being able to attend to the if in fact that is Rustenmeyer down the field, Brian.
Looks like they're tending to his left ankle as he's lying face down. And you're right, Doc Hingst has been around for a long time. I think he's been depreciated out here at Lutheran High School. But with that being said, he's also in the Hall of Fame, is he not?
He is, yeah. He's one of the first few members of our Hall of Honor that we have had. Has served as, like I said, our team doctor here. Was a basketball coach here at Lutheran High for many, many years, probably about 20 years as well. Freshman coach, JV coach, and our varsity coach. And has also been he likes to call himself the Wednesday afternoon golf coach. So he gets off work early on Wednesday afternoons, and he can be our golf coach for Wednesday afternoons.
I've seen him out there on several occasions. Getting
Absolutely.
a nice little round of golf in, and it's nice to break things up and see a different face on the golf team while you're out on the golf course. And typically Bogey Hills is where the practice would be, and we're thankful that Bogey Hills is a great partner of our golf team as well.
Absolutely, both men's and the women's. Girls golf team had a match today out at Normandy Golf Club, so it was fun. I know they did pretty well, so it's fun to see our kids competing. And inside we have our JV girls volleyball tournament going on tonight, Brian. So busy day here at Lutheran High's campus.
That's great. It looks like Rustenmeyer is up. He's trying to walk. Got a little hobble going on. He did mess up his left ankle or lower left leg, and he's walking off by himself, but he's got a little ways to go to get that to feel good.
Well, little hobble's okay, Brian. Little hobble's okay. The fact he's going off under his own power, and Mark Daniels walking right next to him there. So good to see that young man up and moving, and hopefully he get back on the field here pretty quick like.
So we have third down and long for the Pioneers, about 13, 14 yards. And once again, they line up with lots of wide receivers and a lone back as Pete is in the shotgun formation. He's going to take the snap here. And here we go. He's looking to throw to the right-hand side. He shook it off, went to the left-hand side. Nice little dump pass over to the right side in the flats and overthrew. It's going to be fourth down.
Well, you see what the Cougars did there, Brian. You see when Pete was flushed out by the stunt up front of the D-line of the Cougars, had a man sitting in the flats. So, Coach Harris and the defensive staff switched up a little bit there, left I think that was an outside linebacker in the flat. So when Pete did run, he had someone right in his face, and I think Pete let go of that ball quicker than he wanted to because he got knocked to the ground pretty good by that outside linebacker. So good defensive adjustment by the Cougars to contain Pete. Otherwise, he probably would have got a first down on a scramble like that, Brian.
Yeah, I'd agree. You do have to contain him because he has some pretty good wheels on him at the same time as Segudo lines up for the punt from the, looks like 26-yard line, takes a snap, kicks up, nice kick. It's going off all the way down to the right-hand side and ended up taking a Pioneer-friendly bounce to the 39-yard line. That's where the Cougars are going to take off on their own 39-yard line with 1st and 10.
Kick goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line. 1st and 10, Lutheran High.
Doug, how about a little bit of talking to what Lutheran High School is doing these days?
Well, we said we got a busy day on here on campus, and it's fun to see the kids competing. We're coming up to homecoming here in a couple of weeks, and another home football game next week before we have our homecoming football game on October 1st. So a lot of activity. I will share a little bit later about a service project that our students did here for hurricane victims of Hurricane Ida. So talk a little bit about that here when we get another break, Brian.
That sounds good. Coffee in the shotgun, and looked like we had a little bit of a broken play, but the ball went hand off to AJ, and he goes up the middle, makes a signature cut move to the outside, gets about 30 yards, and he's all the way down to the 32-yard line.
I think right now is the time, if I'm the Cougars, I'm wanting to really put my foot on the gas. I see a lot of the D linemen from the Pioneers kind of walking down the field, and now you want to go right now because those kids are playing both ways. The Cougars have the luxury of kids not having to play both ways on the offensive and defensive line, which is a huge piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And check that as 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line as A.J. had an awesome run there. And once again, Coffey's in the shotgun, and he's looking to throw to the right-hand side, surveying the field under pressure. Takes a nice hit. McLean all the way down. They mark him. Touchdown, Cougars!
Yeah, nice play. A little frustration there from the Pioneers. Didn't see McLean leak out there. Again, that's that mesh route when you turn it up. You know, and Coach Steinbacher would love this. Mesh route to your number 3 receiver, and instead of running the out route, the safety just bid on that out route when you turn it up into a chair route, and he goes open for the touchdown.
I got to tell you what, a lot of kudos to Coffey on that one because he waited, and he probably looked off a couple of defenders and then was able to hit McLean for the touchdown. And, boy, he had a nice little effort trying to dive in and hit the cone right at the end.
Yeah, now the Cougars lead this game 14-7 and look on to put 2 more points up the board to go up 2 scores now, 16-7 if they can punch this in for a 9-point lead, Brian.
Yeah, we got Jamal Thomas and Aiden Harris in the backfield, and Aiden gets the ball. He goes up to the right-hand side, and looks like he's going to be a little bit short by about a couple feet.
Just a hair short there, Brian. No, a couple more events we got coming up. Like I said, you know, we got that homecoming coming up here. The starts on Monday the 27th. Also going on tonight at Lutheran High School, I mentioned our varsity golf competition. Our varsity girls tennis team was at Rosati Kane, so that was kind of fun to see. And coming up tomorrow, we still have another big day. Our boys swim team is at Ladue Invitational. Our girls volleyball JV team continues their 2-day tournament, and also our cross-country team, boys and girls, go to the Forest Park Cross Country Invitational in Forest Park. So that's always a fun race for the cross-country kids to run in Forest Park. It's a huge race. I went to it here about 6 years ago when I was athletic director, and I couldn't even hardly see our kids because I was wading through the number of people that were there. So I have no doubt that would be a good opportunity for our cross-country kids, our men and our women, to showcase the skills that they've been blessed with. So that'll be fun.
So you were talking a little bit about some more service projects. You want to start off on that a bit?
Absolutely. A shout-out goes to Eric Norwine, our student council advisor, and to Taylor Christian, our National Honor Society advisor, put together a service project fundraiser where our kids had an opportunity to donate to Hurricane Ida victims, and the proceeds are going to benefit the LCMS Southern District. So it's kind of fun that we're able to raise almost $2,000 in 1 day's time to support the Southern District there down in Louisiana, Brian.
$2,000 is a lot of money as Pete gets to kick off for the Pioneers, and a whole lot of people down yonder, and looks like he was able to.
We got the ball.
We got a fumble on the play, and the Cougars recover it as Pete puts the ball on the turf. Boy, this is a big play right here. The Cougars going to take over at the 26-yard line, 1st and 10. Wow, what a turn of events.
I don't know what happened. I'm going to need to try to watch that on the replay here, Brian, on YouTube, but that was very interesting. We'll see if Pete got careless with the ball, or the Cougars just made a nice play on the ball. Well, it looks like Pete was trying to gain some extra yardage, and the Cougars just punched it out. So good job by the defensive staff of the Cougars teaching that punch out. So Cougars take over here. Brian, what are you doing here? Do you give him the ball up the middle to AJ or to Aiden or to Rod, or are you going to go for the end zone?
I think I would go up the middle right now and gain a few extra yards and then do the end zone. That's just me. I like being able to pound the ball a bit because I'm old school triple option. So that's just me. But I know we have a lot of sponsors as we have a timeout on the football field right now. So, Doug, why don't you give us a little bit more update on some sponsors?
Absolutely. Our blue sponsors this evening, Vince and Kristen Bonham, Shamrock's Bar and Grill, Alan and Christy Kaufman, and Mascots. And also our gray sponsors, Abigail Gay Photography, John and Kelly Brickner, Mark Cherry and Dr. Wendy Meyer Cherry, Wes and Kelly Colbert, Ramon and Angel Hicks, Glenn and Laura Mankin, Matt and Amy Murphy, Joe and Michelle Thomason, and Butch and Gina Powley. I do got to give a quick shout out there to, first of all, we have Glenn and Laura Mankin. I mentioned their name. Tonight is Laura Mankin's birthday. So Glenn Menken is our Director of Community Relations here at Lutheran High, and it's his wife's 29th birthday tonight. So
29.
29.
Wow,
29th
she's
birthday.
young.
So she is. So he is out celebrating with her tonight. So he is not watching the game, but he could be listening to it. So
Could
happy
be.
birthday, Laura.
Happy birthday, Laura, 29 and counting. That is awesome as Coffee takes shotgun approach once again. We got a lone back behind him, and we have a jumping on the line. Looks like Cougars going to be able to pick up 5 yards here as Pioneers look like they jumped off sides.
Well, Coach Elmendorf had that play dialed in here a couple times, and the Cougars jumped off sides in the first quarter, and now that what's turnabout is fair play, so the Cougars then go on to and get the Pioneers to jump off sides. Good coaching by both Coach Elmendorf and Coach Harris to coach up your kids to not jump.
Agreed. First down and 5 yards to go with Aiden Harris as the lone back. He gets the handoff trying to get to the right-hand side of the corner. He does make the corner and had a hand tackle, if you will, but was able to pick up about 3 yards on the run.
Yeah, shout out there, Dawson Talent. My goodness, he's doing a great job. This is the third time I've used this phrase as our right side of our offensive line just washed down. So good job by our right guard and right tackle.
Yeah, you notice, Doug, it's tough to be able to get to the outside against these Pioneers. They have some very good speed on the corners, and we're trying to take advantage of it, spread the football field out a little bit, and then put A.J. in the back and pound it up the middle. So we'll see what happens here, if that may be part of the plan right now, as McLean goes in motion, and it is. A.J. gets the ball up the middle, makes a few cuts. He's going to the outside, cuts back for the Cougar touchdown.
Nice run. I can't believe the Pioneers weren't able to make that. About 5 kids who could have made that tackle, and A.J. just ran away from him. Great run by the Stanford-bound recruit, Brian.
That's why he's a Stanford-bound recruit with a run like that. Boy, he was bobbing and weaving and cutting, and he had about 4 different cuts on that and just left some people breaking ankles, as they like to say, as the Cougars end up scoring. It's 20-7 with 5:56 left, as they're going to figure out what type of play they want to do here.
Well, now the Cougars are up 13 here, so this is one of those ones you need, because this is a big score to come in for the end of the game here, Brian. If the game keeps going this route and Pioneers are able to put on some points, they're going to be able to get the extra points, so these are critical.
Yeah, absolutely. As Rod Gibson is a lone back, you have Coffee and shotgun, and he's looking to throw. There's a 7 round across the middle. 2-point conversion is good.
Nice pitch and catch, Brian.
Yeah, Caleb Mays ended up with that catch right there for the 2-point conversion. Boy, that was a pretty play.
Really was. We mentioned the reason that AJ is going to Stanford is because he does able to do things he can physically. I will not share what his GPA is or his ACT score, because I don't know if I can share that, but I will tell you it's a lot better than most kids. And a lot of smart kids at Lutheran High. He's one of the top kids we have here. So you're going to a place like Stanford. You are very, very intelligent, and they're only going to recruit a certain type of kid, and it's just awesome to be able to watch him here, in his senior season at Lutheran High.
Yeah, we've been able to see him grow up through the years, Doug, and you know what? He is an awesome young man as well, humble. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength, and that's something that he exhibits on a daily basis.
I've known AJ since he was a little kid, and I think I've in my life heard him say about 12 words. So no, kidding, just kidding. His mom's probably at home or actually here going to watch this game later and say, no way. But no, good kid, just phenomenal kid. Real quick, Brian, I just got a text message here from our cross-country coach, and our boys will be competing in the top green division against Class 5 schools, and we are looking to make some noise. Cross-country districts just came out, I think yesterday or today, so Cougars are going to have another run at state on the boys' side, and obviously girls are going to be successful as well. So hope they do real well tomorrow against some of that great competition.
Absolutely. As Jones is set back to try and take the ball, was cut off by one of his teammates trying to bring the ball up to the right-hand side. Gets about 6 yards on the return as the Pioneers are going to take over on the 25-yard line, 1st and 10.
Best thing I just saw right here in between these plays is I see Rustenmeyer running back out on the field. That's big. That's good news if you're a Cougar fan to be able to see one of our star defensive tackles there. Between he and Jaden Wanstedt, they're just clogging up that middle and not giving the Pioneers much place to run up the gut. So good to see him back on the field, Brian.
Yeah, I would agree. Polk's up the middle as well, and you got a big line right there, and you're not going to be able to get past him very easily, and hence that's why the Pioneers continue to line up with the spread offense and lone back with two wide receivers on the far side, the near side, sending Pete in motion. And they're trying to, ball's on the ground once again. Pete couldn't quite handle the handoff, and
it's going to be second down. I think Pete recovered his own fumble, Brian.
a little bit of a scrum at the bottom of the pile there. So Pioneers indeed did recover their own fumble, but lost 2 yards on the play. So it's going to be 2nd and 12.
Could have been an absolute disaster there for the Pioneers once Pete put that ball on the ground again. So he's going to have to do a better job holding on to that football. And that's the key game on that read option, Brian, is you put it in right into side offense, so to speak, and those kind of things can happen real easy. So
yeah, they can. Pretty much communication is by feel when you have that type of a play, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Pete's going back for a pass play, and he can't get anywhere, and it looks like we have all kinds of flags. We may have intentional grounding. We may have a horse collar tackle. There's going to be a lot of stuff to try and sort out here.
My guess is they're going to throw the face mask. Cougars just got their hands entangled there. Don't quite know if they'd get a penalty for the illegal grounding. He did just throw it into the ground, but there was a receiver in the area. So we'll see what the officials sort out here, Brian. Kind of fun to speculate due to the fact we are about 200 yards away. We don't really have too good eyesight up here, but we'll see what Mr. Nunnery has to say on this penalty, Brian.
Well, it looks like they're going to try and walk some yardage off for the Pioneers versus the Cougars. It's a big one too. It's 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, is it a 10 or a 15? Looks like it's a 10. I missed the call, Brian. What was it?
Actually, he did not show it yet. They just moved the ball.
They just moved, so it was a 10-yard penalty, folks. We don't know what it was, but Pioneers get 10 yards, and they should have had a 10-yard loss. So luck of the draw.
Second down and 5.
Second down and 5 with Pete in the shotgun, and once again spread offense with wide receivers on both sides. Looking to the right-hand side, throw to the flats. Actually, number 6, Josh Baker-Mays came in for the play at the quarterback there, and just an incomplete pass at the feet.
Oh, was that Baker Mays is in at quarterback now? So he was a quarterback at Westminster last year. He's another very good athlete here for the Pioneers. So glad to see him on the field here. So it'll be interesting because I believe he was their quarterback the first game of the season, and then Pete went back at quarterback the second game. So it's good to have a couple of kids up there to be able to interchange and have a couple different quarterbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pete was on the field, and he had his helmet fall off or ripped off from that last play, so he had to take a seat for at least a play, and that's why Baker Mays came in. And Pete's in a quarterback again. He drops back to pass, and he tries to pass. The ball comes loose. There's no whistle on the play. It doesn't look like the Cougars were trying to run it back, but they're going to deem him down.
Yeah, but did he get caught up there, or are they going to call an incomplete pass? Because that was kind of an interesting exchange there.
I agree. They are going to call that an incomplete pass. To me, it looks like he was in the grasp, if you will.
I think he just kind of threw it down so he wouldn't get sacked. So that was an interesting decision by Pete to try to just throw it like that. Those kind of things can get you in trouble.
So we have 4th down and 5, and Cougars going to set up to try and receive the punt, and we'll see what the Pioneers are going to do here. They got Segudo going back. And once again, Doug, he's got a big leg here, so we'll see if he can get the ball to have a nice little spiral and turn over at the top and get a nice kickoff for him. And there he goes, nice boot. McLean gets it, misses the first tackle, gets to the outside, cuts it back up to the middle. He does make the corner here, and he's going to continue on, and he's going to get pushed out of bounds at the 34-yard line for a heck of a run back, about 30 yards for Aiden McLean.
That was a phenomenal run back. I really like how he set his blocks up there, kind of reminiscent of the touchdown return that he had against Chaminade here to break that game open last week. Cougars were up 8-6, and as Chaminade had just scored and kicked off, and Aiden took it all the way back, about an 85-yard touchdown return, so looked a lot the same way there.
McLean's really, really smooth. He just runs and his helmet stays flat the whole time, which tells me he's got very good mechanics, and he'll cut left and right, and the next thing you know, he's in the open, and he's pretty quick to gain some good yards.
Absolutely.
Coffee takes the handoff. Aiden Harris has the ball up the middle. Nice run, cut back. He's going to take it to the house. Cougar touchdown.
Boy, once again, just ran through about 7 Pioneers there on his way to the end zone. Great run. Great run by the Cougars.
That was a great run, and I got to tell you, Doug, it looks like the Pioneers are feeling a little bit down right now, maybe a little out of breath, but they are definitely they're behind the 8 ball right now.
They really are
frustrated.
Yep. I think a little frustrated, and a couple of just missed tackles there, and Aiden just takes that one, powers into the end zone here to open up a 31-7 lead here.
So it looks like the Cougars once again are going to line up for the 2-point conversion, and they're doing just that. And you can key in on AJ all day long, but McLean's out there in the slot back right now on the line, and we're going to see what's going to happen here, because once again, Doug, you're right. They have 3 receivers, and they give the pitch to the outside. Rod Gibson has it, and he's not touched at all. Just lays it hard down on somebody. 2-point conversion's good. 4:42 left.
They just walked in there again. Brian, I think we got to give a shout out again to the offensive line. They just continue to open up huge, gaping holes, and I'm impressed by that, because you got a couple of guys 300 pounds plus on the defensive line of the Pioneers. So I wonder if the Pioneers are kind of running out of gas with a lot of those guys on the offensive and defensive line going both ways, or the Cougars have the luxury of not having to do that with all personnel. So big difference so far, Brian.
Big difference indeed, as the Cougars are up 30-7. They're doing some good work right now, Doug.
Yeah, it's been a good game to watch here, and you wonder now what the Pioneers are going to come back with here. They've had some success when they've gotten Pete out onto the edge and allowed him to create, whether with his legs or with his arm. Obviously, as evidence with the long touchdown they had from Pete to Pete. So you got to wonder if Coach Elmendorf's going to go back to that, or is he going to stay in his patient game plan that he has been in for the first quarter and a half here, Brian?
Well, if you go Pete to Pete, you might have to repeat.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if I'm Coach Elmendorf, I'm going Pete to Pete.
Yeah,
or I'm going
right.
Pete to Lee, or I'm going Pete to Baker Mays, and I'm going to start putting the ball in the air here, and it's going to have to be quick passes, because the Cougars' defensive line is having a good rush against the offensive line of the Pioneers thus far in this game, Brian.
Yeah, back deep for the Pioneers is Rob Jones, and Paulette is back deep. They both are for the Pioneers, as they're waiting patiently on the 15.
Pioneers could use a good return here, get the ball to Jones and let him create, because we've seen the speed that he has had.
Agreed. Powell has a nice little line drive kick, and you're right. Rob Jones takes the ball. He tries to go up the middle, and I think the blade of grass may have gotten him on that one.
Yeah, the old turf monster got up there. So again, I think we had another kid who slipped earlier, but that looks like another one. He could have had the makings of a good return, Brian.
They got a flag on the play right now on the return, as they are trying to figure out what this is about. We will let you know as soon as we know.
I wonder if we're going to get a late hit here. Looks like they're not. Looks like they pick up the flag. Oh nope, they didn't. We haven't got a signal yet here, but it could be that. And
personal foul, 15-yard penalty.
And that hurts. That really does. Again, you got the Pioneers pinned back, and you give them a free few yards there. That was just one of those tough ones where you're sprinting down the field, you're looking to make a hit, and the kid just falls, and those kind of things happen.
Yeah, you play hard. Sometimes those plays do happen that way, but continue to play hard is my motto on that. As Pete takes the snap, he's looking to the outside, wanted to throw, but he's still trying to throw. He was covered pretty tightly by number 62, Damon Dunlap, and he was in his grasp and just threw it away to nobody.
Well, once again, you got Dunlap coming in on the D-line, and you're getting a rest for your two big horses there on the inside, and Dunlap just comes firing up the middle and forces Pete into a throw he probably didn't want to make there. He wanted a little bit more time. So good defensive pressure from the interior of the Cougars' defensive pass rush there, Brian.
2nd and 10 for the Pioneers as they line up near the 35-yard line with 4:29 left before halftime. 30-7 Cougar lead right now. And Pete is in the shotgun with number 2, Jones, getting the flip from the backfield as he comes in motion, and he got no yards whatsoever. As a matter of fact, he lost about half a yard. Aaron Powell comes up strong for the nice tackle for the Cougars.
Well, Aaron Powell is not only a kicker, he's playing linebacker for us, and he has been able to flow sideline to sideline. We talked about that earlier, Brian, is both these teams have so much speed on the edge. And when you run those plays that are going east-west, Cougars have enough speed to be able to track them down. Likewise, the Pioneers do too, which is why the Cougars are going up the middle and not running side to side.
Yeah, that's good game plan on Cougars' behalf for certain, as they know that they have some gaping holes that they're creating up the middle, so they'll continue to do that. And, boy, we got center just didn't snap the ball on that one. Flags galore.
Yeah.
So we're going to gain 5 yards back. Cougars will. It's going to be third down and a long way from just over the 30-yard line. They got about 15 yards for the first down with 3:41 left before the halftime.
And Cougars got to be careful on this play, Brian. Again, I think Coach Elmendorf's going to get Pete out on the edge again and allow him to create, and going to have stay in your lanes on this pass rush to be able to get off the field here on third long, Brian.
Yeah, it looks like a similar play that they just ran to the near side, but it's on the far side with the 3 wide receivers on the far side. Pete from the shotgun, he's looking to the right, and he has the opportunity to make the corner, and he's going to take off and run. And he's holding the ball way too loosely, in my opinion, to try and hit the corner there as he gains about 10 yards.
Yeah, nice. Again, we didn't have that flat defender in the edge to take away that contained by Pete on that play, but he's got a long way to go. So you got to wonder here, does Coach Elmendorf say, hey, we're going to go for this? I know we're on our own 41-yard line, but we are down by 23 points here as the clock ticks down before halftime.
Yeah, Doug, something impressive I saw out there on number 23 for the Cougars, Caleb Mays. He went over and offered a hand to the opponent to help him up and Pete, and that's good sportsmanship.
Absolutely, that's what you expect out of Caleb Mays. Now the Pioneers are going for this big play.
It is a big play, and once again, Pete gets it. He looks to the left-hand side. He finds his receiver in the flat, and he gets hit hard, comes back, gains a couple of yards, but he's going to be well short of the first down.
You know, I'm a little surprised by that play by Elmendorf. I mean, typically he's going to play the field position game, but I think he's looking at this going now, hey, we're down 23. We got to have a spark here before halftime, and, you know, you get that first down, you get your team down a roll a little bit, you put a touchdown in, you're only down 2 scores. So I can't say I disagree with that call at all, but I'm surprised knowing Coach Elmendorf being typically a little bit more conservative approach.
So, Doug, does Coach Elmendorf actually call the plays, or does he have an offensive coordinator that does that? Do you know?
I do not. I'm assuming he's got an offensive coordinator. Every team does, but Coach Elmendorf's going to, obviously as the head coach, going to make the decision on to go or not.
Yeah, we have Coffee in the shotgun. Looks like we're going to have a handoff to Rod. And Gibson's going to the outside, cuts. He makes the corner as number 15 tracks him down, pushes him out of bounds at about the 23-yard line as Ethan Kissel pushes him out of bounds.
Yeah, again, you saw both linebackers for the Pioneers just shoot right where AJ was on that play, and it just opened up a huge hole for Rod on the left side. So good misdirection play call by the Cougars here to catch the Pioneers off balance, Brian.
Yeah, those linebackers get sucked into the middle, then they get caught up in traffic and they can't get to the outside, and that's exactly what Gibson took advantage of. Is he went in between the tackles there on the left-hand side and then cut back to the outside for a nice gain as the Cougars come to the line with 2:16 left in the half, 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. Coffee takes the handoff, same play. Gibson goes to the left-hand side, running hard, using his legs, gets stood up with the 10 yards, and he gets about 2 more yards as he pushes the whole pile forward.
Well, Brian, that was going to be that was going to be 2nd and 1, but you saw the offensive lineman for the Cougars just go literally push the pile to allow the Cougars to get that first down here. Now they're again in the red zone, and you got to cash this in here as you tick down under 2 minutes before halftime, Brian.
That's right. A little PTP pushed the pile for the Cougars as Coffee once again lines up in the shotgun, and he's got Two backs in the backfield, and he's going to hand it off to A.J. A.J. hits it up the middle. He keeps winding and chugging his legs, gets about 5 or 6 yards. It's going to be second down and about 4 to go. You know the Cougars can get another first down before they make a touchdown here.
Can. Again, he got hit in the backfield there. The two defensive tackles, which we've talked a lot about for the Pioneers, have done a good job up the middle. And A.J. just put his foot in the ground, was able to sidestep him. Otherwise, that could have been about a 3-yard loss on that play. So Pioneers are just right there. Just haven't been quite able to make that play in the backfield on a good running back like A.J., Brian.
Yeah, you got Aiden Harris, you got A.J. Harris, you got a misdirection. Aiden Harris gets the ball, and he gets stood up, and there goes the offensive line, pushing him all the way in, and what do they call? Touchdown, Cougars!
My goodness, that's just 1-2 right there. The defensive line of the Pioneers just couldn't quite overpower there, and the offensive line just literally pushed Aiden Harris 3 yards into the end zone, Brian.
That was phenomenal to watch. It's a lot of fun. With a minute left, the Cougars are up 36-7 before halftime, and that's the second time in a row that the offensive line just said, hey, we're going to push you forward.
Yeah, they really did. I'm watching the replay on YouTube here, Brian, because we're a little bit behind, about 30 seconds behind, and he got hit at the 4-yard line. So the offensive line of the Cougars punched that 4 yards down there, Brian.
Cougars going to go for 2 right now. Looks like it could be they're lining up for a pass play to the right-hand side as Coffee rolls out. Nice little play to the outside, and a 2-point conversion is good.
Brian, I don't want to tell you what play that was because I've said that play. We've run it now about 5 times. It rhymes with Desh.
I think it is mesh.
And we're throwing where? We're throwing to the
number 3 receiver, Mr. Brown.
Absolutely. So nice play call by the Cougars. The Pioneers haven't had an answer for that mesh call all night, Brian.
Well, it seems to me like the Cougars are meshing pretty well, pun intended, as they continue to wind down and wear out the Pioneers here in the first half, 38-7 with a minute left. I tell you, they certainly have put a show on in scoring, and Pioneers are getting tired.
They really are. Again, they're going both ways there, Brian. And again, the Cougars have a little bit deeper bench than the Pioneers do. And when especially when your big guys having to play the offensive and defensive side of going against fresh guys, that makes a big difference. So, Brian, I also do need to correct myself here. Gordon Brado, our longtime athletic director here at Lutheran High School, my mentor, my good friend, says to me here that Doc Hinks, we were talking about earlier, has been our team doctor at Lutheran Air since 1992, the year of our first football team. We had 12 players on that football team, so 12 players back in 1992, our first year of football. So thank you, Mr. Brado, for letting us know. That's good information.
Something tells me at least 11 of them played both ways.
I think you're right.
Little squib kick going up, a little pop-up, if you will, to the 45-yard line. Wisely, the Pioneers' number 65, Freigay, actually just fell on the ball and went down right away.
I think that was a good call by Coach Harris and the special teams staff to pop that ball up because, again, some of the best offense tonight for the Pioneers has been the kick returns. So you get Jones out in the open field or Pete out in the open field, and it's going to be difficult for the Cougars to bring him down. So smart play call here as we tick down with less than a minute left until halftime, Brian.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of clock management, too, to not let the running game get going, get their feet underneath of them, and allow them to come to the line, as exactly what the Pioneers are doing with Pete. Going to go shotgun once again, and you have number 7 in the backfield with him, Cam Lee, and 4 receivers, 2 on both sides as he's surveying the field. And we have Pete in motion, and they do a handoff, fake handoff, looking to the left, looking to the right, and just got smothered from behind for a sack.
Yeah, and I think, you're going to get a quick timeout here from Coach Elmendorf.
Timeout, Lutheran High.
Looks like Rubio came in from the backside and smacked him for the loss of 5 yards on the nice sack there.
Well, and again, what you like seeing here, you don't have those 2 guys you've been talking about earlier. You don't have Russemeyer or Wanstead even in the game. So the Cougars are getting a great pass rush here from Rubio and CP and some of those guys, and Dunlap doing a great job. So, again, the luxury of having all those kids on the defensive line being able to get after it.
Yeah, you're talking about Russmeyer. He just started running back into the huddle onto the field right now to take at least a little bit of instruction, but it doesn't look like he's going to get back in. Wisely, they're probably going to save him a little bit and maybe get him in a little bit in the second half.
I think he wants in the game. If I'm a senior and I know you have a finite number of games, even if you make a deep run into the playoffs, you only have so many football games. So you want to play as much as you can when you have the opportunity to do so, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. So Doug, tell us a little bit more about Lutheran High and what's happening there and some of the exciting things that's going on, and particularly during this COVID era right now. You guys had to adjust and be a little bit malleable, huh?
I really definitely did. I don't know what malleable means, but no. Just kidding. It's a nice big word. It's what I'm not necessarily going to use in normal conversation, but it's been good to watch all our schools here in St. Charles County, be able to be in session, in classes, and be able to keep kids safe with PPE, or PPP rather, but also with just making sure people are doing the right thing with their health. So it's been good.
We got 2nd and 15 for the Pioneers from the 40-yard line with 47 ticks left before halftime. Pete is in the shotgun. He takes it. He's surveying the field. He's flushed out to the right-hand side. He throws across his body. That is a very difficult throw to make, even for a professional football player.
Yep. Again, I think the Cougars are going to have to make an adjustment and get that flat defender to be able to come up and put somebody in his face. Otherwise, he's going to be able to go on the edge like that and just create with his feet, but also buy himself some time in order to make a throw down the field like he did from Pete to Pete earlier in the game, Brian, as the Pioneers scored their lone touchdown of the game so far.
Yeah, Doug, it makes you wonder, should he tuck that ball and just continue to run, because he has open green space there. Just one of those things, as you're making decisions on the fly in the football game, you're trying to make the best one that you can with the information you have in front of you. And we have a flag on the play.
Brian, did we correct ourselves there? Is Pete still in the back? Is Pete still taking the snaps, or is that Baker Mays?
It is Pete. Baker Mays took a couple snaps as he had to take his helmet off from that play before, but it is Pete.
Okay. Well, Brian, coming up here, we got 40 seconds till halftime, and we're going to have our, we're going to have our Sapphires dance and be able to see our cheerleaders perform. And we are not going to have a halftime interview because no one wants to hear me talk, or they might want to hear you talk. But we're going to take a break here. And we got a couple people up visiting us up here in the press box. So one of my good friends, longtime football coach, up here, and also get an opportunity to enjoy his company.
Well, why don't you introduce us, Doug?
Long time friend of mine, our former offensive coordinator here at Lutheran High School, Mercé Roach. Good to see Mercé up here and taking in the football game and watching his team that he used to coach many moons ago with me. And he was a good offensive coordinator, let me tell you. He was smarter than me. I remember several times where he would call plays and I'd tell him, that ain't going to work. And wouldn't you know, it worked. And he knows I'm talking about the old 46 there, 65, 64. He's pointing down to the 35-yard line that we ran against St. Dominic to beat them in homecoming. Mike Hall, if you're listening, I remember when you ran that in for a touchdown. So,
Mike Hall, that's a name and a voice from the past, if you will. He was a stud for the Cougars many moons ago.
He was.
And we have a pass into the flats as hands it out to number 17, Jamon Mathis, as he tries to get a first down, but he's going to pick up about 6 or 7 yards. It's still going to be a long way. 4th down and 8 for the Pioneers from their own 47-yard line.
Well, I like that play call because, again, you're getting the ball out on the edge on a quick pass from Pete to Mathis, and Mathis has an ability to take the ball to the end zone anytime he touches it. Again, very fast, very big and strong. So Cougars did a nice job rallying up and be able to stop Mathis before he got going. So
another timeout on the field as there are 30.7 seconds left before the halftime. 38-7, Cougars are up. So, Doug, I thought you were going to say that Coach over here likes to call the mesh play all the time.
He did like the mesh play. He did like the mesh, but if in typical Coach Roach fashion, you like to throw it deep. It's always fun to throw it. Of course, you got a kid. I see his dad sitting down in front of us here. Played for the St. Louis Rams for a couple of years. Aaron Hill. When you got Aaron Hill in the backfield, or Mike Hall, you are just going to put the ball on the ground when you got a kid who's both of them playing professional football. 2 running backs. We got a luxury there of 2 running backs on the same team. Both went on to play professional football. Looks like the Pioneers are going to punt here, and 30 seconds left. Cougars forced them to take the punt, take a timeout.
Pioneers jumped. They're going to back them up a little bit more.
Flag against the Pioneers.
And you got to wonder here. What Coach Harris did the same thing at Chaminade. We were up about. I don't remember the exact score. We were up about this same amount against Chaminade at halftime, and Coach Harris forced them to punt, and then the Cougars scored on the very next play on a 50-yard pass from Aaron Coffey to Michael Parr. So you got to wonder if Coach Harris is thinking the same thing.
Could be. Nice punt as it goes out of bounds. They're trying to keep it away from Parr, and the Cougars are going to have 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, and 24 seconds left.
Looks like we got a penalty here, some extracurricular here from Pioneer and a Cougar kind of going after the play. And I think the Cougar was the one who was pushing a little bit harder than he needed to. So Cougar's going to pick up a unsportsmanlike foul on this play, and that's just one of those ones you gotta correct if you want to win football games.
Yeah, it looks like Thomas is down on the field too, writhing in pain right now, and well, you never like to see anybody down on the turf hurt particularly.
I hope he's able to pop back up and be able to go and get a break here at halftime, Brian. Well, like we said, the Cougars here, this is a big key game for the Cougars and the Pioneers both when you got a district opponent here. So last year the Cougars and the Pioneers met in the district championship right here at Lutheran High School, and the Pioneers came out on top, played a phenomenal game to earn their first district championship in a couple of years, and that's one of those ones I think the Cougars remember that game, and so far this game has been pretty lopsided for the Cougars here in the first half as it stands 38-7 with 24 seconds left until halftime. So we'll see what happens in the second half, Brian.
Placed at the 14-yard line.
I would agree, as he's walking off on his own volition, if you will, Thomas. I wonder if he ended up having a little bit of a cramp in his leg or something, but that could happen very easily. And with the penalty, the Cougars are pushed way back to their own 14-yard line. They're going to have to be careful here, too, with 24 seconds left. I would say just keep it on the ground, run it up the middle, and don't take too many chances, although they had trips on the far side. It'll be interesting to see what's called right here.
Yeah, it looks like Coffey's got a long time to throw.
He's throwing into the flats, and that was a dangerous play.
Dangerous play. Got to wonder if Coach Harris calls that again, or if he just says we're going to keep it on the ground. Let's just get to halftime and go in the locker room with a 38-7 lead, Brian. Especially when you got the Pioneers playing prevent defense there, Brian. It's going to be tough to complete anything, let alone a deep pass.
Yeah, you go hash to hash and trying to be flushed out of the pocket, and that could have very easily been a pick six.
Yep. Great break on the ball. I think that was Pete out there as defensive back, made a great play on the ball. And we've talked about the wheels and the speed that he does have, Brian. So
yeah, I would agree. As Coffey's in the backfield, and he does just that. He hands it off to Gibson up the middle, and he just barrels right over a Pioneer defender, number 10. Looks like Uriah Clark tried to tackle him, but got bowled.
he got bowled, but nevertheless, he did bring him down, but not after got a couple yards there. So now we're 8 seconds left, Brian, and looks like the Cougars took I think this is their final time out of the half. 8 seconds left. Cougars lead 38-7 here. It is almost halftime. It is almost time for our Sapphire dance team to perform here at halftime, Brian.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to be able to see. They spend a lot of time, they practice a lot, and they get the opportunity to come out and cheer on these Lutheran Cougar football team right now. And, you put a lot of time and effort and work in, you're going to be pretty good, and that's exactly what these Sapphires are.
Absolutely. Coach Malakis with our Sapphire dance team and Coach Schulte with our cheer team, both of those have just built up tremendous programs here. After having a combined team here several years ago, now to have two separate teams, and each of them, as we look down the field, have about 20 kids in them, Brian. So those teams are both strong, and they both perform very, very well here and are good representations of Lutheran High School.
So it's 3rd and 1, Doug, with 8 seconds left before halftime, and Cougars are lining up. You have Coffee in the backfield, and you got Gibson in the backfield with him as Coffee's looking to take the snap with McLean in motion, and they're going to throw the ball once again. They're going to look deep, and they're going down the far near sideline, and that ball is going to be picked off coming back the other way, and this is going to be interesting to see what happens. Oh, tell you what, number 6, Michael Parr Jr. comes back, and he has a big hit. And there are flags galore.
Yeah, I don't really know.
People aren't too happy about that.
Yeah, boy, nice hit by Parr. I mean, that's Coffey's first interception of the season. Now looks like we're going to have a few flags being thrown. We still have flags being thrown. Don't quite know what happened, Brian.
I think some words were said. Some words are still being said.
Got a couple of Pioneers trying to go back after things. Now we got another flag being thrown. So this is what you don't want to see here at this point.
Some people may be kicked out of this one.
Yeah. Well, you hope neither team has any kid who's going to be kicked out, but looks like we're going to have this penalty.
End of the first half.
Well, we have 4 flags on the field right now.
Division High 38, Duchesne 7.
As the referees are guiding the teams off the field, they're making each of them go off separately so they don't get another scrum happening as they go into the locker rooms at halftime.
Yeah, and you got Coach Elmendorf down there at midfield. They're wondering kind of what's happening here. You know, do the Pioneers get an untimed down here, or do we go to halftime? It looks like he's waiting for an explanation. Looks like Coach Harris is also getting an explanation. Yeah, that's kind of stuff you don't want to see. You know, neither team. You want cooler heads to prevail, and both teams to be able to keep their full complement of players and keep them in the game. So interesting to see what the officials have to sort out here as the coaches wait for explanations.
Well, as we continue to wait for those explanations, Cougars are leading 38-7 at halftime as we currently sit right now. So we will check it out and see. When we find out, we will let you know. Until then, enjoy the halftime show.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Lutheran High School Sapphire.
back, football fans. We are back 1 minute till the kickoff here of the second half. Cougars lead this game 38-7. I think we were able to sort out kind of the end of that game there, or rather the end of that half, and penalties thrown on both teams. Hopefully that kind of calmed things down, and we can get back to playing some football here in the second half, Brian.
Yeah, tempers were flaring a little bit right toward the end, and when you had two crosstown rivals and tough games in front of them and their district rivals at the same time, and you have a hard hit at the end of the ball game, there's going to be a little tempers flaring, it seemed like.
Rightfully so. Kids. Again, you only play so many football games. You have a finite number in here, and you get one a week. So these kids got a lot of oomph they want to play with, and sometimes tempers get the best of you, and things need to be calmed down. That's why we have those 5 officials working the game. They're doing a great job tonight, Brian.
Yeah, they are. It looks like they may have been some offsetting type of penalties because they're lining up on the 40 for the kickoff once again.
Yeah. As we kick off the second half here, Brian, quick shout out to Glenn and Kim Griskowiak. They are watching the game here. Jack Griskowiak here and Jenna. A couple of twins graduated from Lutheran High a couple of years ago. Jack played football for the Cougars, and Jenna did many, many things and is now throwing in college on the track and field team. And they are celebrating Kim's dad's birthday, Harold, his 96th birthday.
96.
Happy birthday, young man. 96. That is awesome.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, we're not singing.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Okay, I'm definitely not. So.
All right, looks like we have a new kicker in for the Cougars. Number 1, actually. Who is that? Michael Jardine. Nice little punch kick, and wow. I thought that was going to stop on a dime there, and it just trickled out of bounds for penalty coming up here on the Cougars.
Looks like the Pioneers are going to take over here on the 3-yard line here and have first down. This is going to be an interesting half of football, Brian. I mean, you're the Pioneers. You're down 38-7 here. You've got some kids dinged up. You got some guys who are playing both ways on the offensive, defensive line, but also in the secondary and the offensive skill positions. What do you come out here and do?
Doug, quite frankly, I think you come back to what was working in the first half. Now, they didn't have a lot of things working, but that second drive that they did have that they scored on, learn something from it.
Absolutely.
That would be my take.
Rolling Pete out as well. I'm doing that over and over again. I agree.
Well, you got a lot of green on the far side, and you can give Pete the ball and allow him to turn the corners.
17.
And once again there, the way the Pioneers started the game was running Javon Mathis here from the backfield into the teeth of the defense here. And that time he actually got past the line of scrimmage. One of the first couple of runs he was unable to from some great pressure on the defensive line of the Cougars. So,
yeah, he gained 1 on the play, and Rubio stuck his nose in there and stopped him pretty hard, Mathis. And Mathis is he's got some good talent. He's a big boy, and he's fast. So
he's a future Division I athlete. And getting him the ball, if I'm the offensive coordinator and/or Coach Elmendorf, I'm putting the ball in his hands a lot.
Yeah, and hence he was lined up, and you got one Pete going to another Pete, and the ball went down on the ground, and it looks like they're still working for it. Of course, Cougars are saying it's their ball, but nope. I don't think so. It's going to end up being a Pioneers ball.
Third down, but that's the I know that with Terrell had put the ball on the ground a couple of times, or rather Teron had, and that was Terrell's brother there. So he did make that nice play in the first half, catching that touchdown pass, and that's one of those ones you got to hold that ball high and tight, not like a loaf of bread. And Cougars did a good job forcing that fumble.
Yeah, they did. And I go back to what we talked about a couple times a couple of weeks ago with McCaffrey on how he holds the ball so close to him in the professional ranks. It's a good lesson for the high school ranks as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Pete just tried to throw the ball out into the flats, and the pass was incomplete. It's going to be 4th down on the 49-yard line for the Pioneers, and looks like they're switching up their offensive strategy here, if you will. I'm going to say they're going to punt, and
I'm watching for a fake punt here, Brian.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. But Elmendorf had the same opportunity here from almost the same position and went for it on 4th and 5 and did not get it. So I'm looking to see once here. Now you're near the 50-yard line. You're 5 more yards than you were last time.
Yes, Agudo is actually back to punt, and High snap, and there was a flag on the play. I think somebody jumped a little bit early on that one.
Well, and I think if you're the Pioneers, you're lucky on there that you jumped offside because that kick was going to get blocked. Cougars were in there immediately.
Yeah, high snap didn't help by any means, but you're right. We were able to defend that pretty quickly, and that was going to be picked off his foot.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. Cougars just shot out of a cannon through there.
So now they're punting from the 40-yard line and lined up once again. Sakudo is taking the snap. Another high snap. He gets a nice one off. And fair catch is what we have for McLean. He's back on the 21-yard line. That's where the Cougars are going to start, 1st and 10.
Well, we were kind of wondering there what the Pioneers were going to do with the football on their first offensive drive. Now we got to ask the same questions. What did the Cougars do with their first drive of the second half here, Brian? Cougars lead 38-7, up 31 here with 10.5 minutes left in the third quarter.
I got to tell you, what worked for them in the first half, Doug, is spreading the offense a little bit, but then pounding the ball right up the middle and allowing their backs to do what they do best, cutting back and forth a bit and chewing some clock up at the same time. So that's what I'd be looking for if I were the Cougars.
Absolutely. Well stated.
So we got 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Coffey is in the shotgun, and he hands it off to Caleb as he's coming around the near side, and Caleb Mays picks up about 15 yards, and he's still tumbling around.
Yeah, boy. And that's actually a pass, Brian. You got a shuffle pass forward there, so that'll go down as a reception for Caleb Mays and a 15-yard gain to add to Aaron Coffey's total on the night in the air, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with having a little flip pass like that. And Cam Lee ended up coming in and making the tackle out of bounds. But, boy, he got wrapped up amongst the Cougar sideline there.
We've talked about some of the new wrinkles that the Cougars have had tonight, and that was another one. That's the first time the Cougars have run that play as well.
Well, here's a rare opportunity for Coffey to go under center. And he's going to have a pitch to A.J. as he's sweeping to the left side. Huge hole. He's got one person to beat. And it did not happen. Great open field tackle.
That was a touchdown-saving tackle there, Brian.
Yes, it certainly was, and that was by Teron Pete.
Nice play. I like watching Teron Pete. He's getting dinged up and he's getting hit pretty hard on the as a quarterback position here, and now to be able to come make a stick on that on a running back like AJ. Nice play by Teron.
Yeah, the run by A.J. put the Cougars into their own territory at the 49-yard line, 1st and 10. And once again, Coffey's in the shotgun. It was interesting. He was up under center on their last play, and now under the shotgun. He's looking to the right side, and nice little pitch and catch. He's going out to the outside. Good run after the catch. A little rack. He's still going all the way down to the 40-yard line as number 5 takes it. Michael Parr, actually, correction, number 6. Michael Parr had a nice run after the catch.
He really did. He just turned on the afterburners there, and once again, Teron Pete makes a touchdown-saving tackle. He's getting a lot of action there in the defensive secondary, Brian, for the Pioneers.
I always like to say run after the catch. When you look at the acronym, it's RAC. He had a lot of racks there. Coffey got the play call, and he's running into the huddle right now, and we got a little bit of stoppage on the field right now. They're just calling a little bit of a timeout right now. I guess it's at that quarter part that you're talking about that they get a rest.
No, I think they're trying to reset the time clock there, and they would not stop a drive here. So kind of do not know why they do have to stop it there. I do see our athletic director Melvin Bethany having to walk into the end zone. Could have been a malfunction with the play clock, or who knows, Brian.
It's a mystery. But the mystery solved right now as the Cougars are down on the 5-yard line, ready to punch this puppy in the red zone here. As we've talked about, they had a couple opportunities early on, Doug, and they just did not capitalize. But then, boy, since then they've gotten into the red zone, and they've capitalized every time that they have been in.
Yeah, we've talked about the one Michael Parr is going to went back in the corner of the end zone that he did have in his hands, and a couple other missed throw by Coffey. But those things at this point are not looking terrible.
Wow.
Just walked in untouched.
Touchdown Cougars as Coffey hands it off to A.J., and there was nobody in sight, Doug, and he just walked in.
Walked right in. He could have ran that for a 99-yard touchdown if he was on the 1-yard line. No one was around him. So, again, I really like what Coach Harris and the offensive staff has done, Brian, to really kind of put all three of our running backs, Rod Gibson and Aiden Harris and A.J. Harris, in positions to succeed. They're able to move them around, shuffle them around, and be able to keep the Pioneers guessing where the ball is going to be going, Brian.
What I like is that they complement each other very well, and that's with an E and with an I. And as you say, they don't know where the ball's going, and as the two-point conversion was trying to take off there, it was blocked at the line, and the two-point conversion is no good. But with 9:09 left in the third quarter, Cougars are up 44-7.
Nice play by Jamon Mathis, Brian, on that two-point conversion try.
So we do have some more sponsors as we have a break in the action. Doug, you want to give us some?
Absolutely. Thank you very much to these families and their support of Lutheran High School. Kevin and Toby Albrecht, Mike and Lori Albert, the Reverend Jason and Carla Oringer, Scott and Darlene Burke, Carla and Lisa Bulla, Andrew and Ellen Barnett, Marty and Mary Bradford, Ricky and Lynn Bratell, Andy and Lynette Caleros, Kevin and Rosie Cantrell, Dr. Jim and Lori Chandler, Dave and Kathy Chapin, Matt and Sarah Civilli, Travis and Billy Koffel, Jared and Lisa Connor, Dr. Dick and Marcia Craven, Eric and Tina Dunlap, Dr. Craig and Tammy Ernstmeyer, Matt and Tiffany Feldhake, Mike and Dr. Amy Fridley, Chris and Jill Gerstner, Nate and Stephanie Gellner. Thank you very much for your support of Lutheran High School.
So the support of Lutheran High School from our sponsors, what does that actually get to help us out with, Doug?
Boy, you name it here. Our ministry, we're a $5 million ministry, and have a lot of needs and a lot of things that we're taking care of kids with. So a lot of things go into being one of our boosters, one of our people supporting our ministry here at Lutheran High School. Goes above and beyond the tuition that the families are spending here to have their kids at Lutheran High School.
Absolutely. As Aaron Powell set the kickoff, and he does to Pete, and Pete takes it, picks it up, cuts up the middle. He's got a gap, and he's got one person to beat with. Got slowed down with a nice little hurdle move, if you will, and then everybody on the team just tackled him.
Yeah. Got gang tackle there. Again, that has been some of the best offense for the Pioneers tonight, Brian. Outside of those deep passes from Pete to Pete, that was a wonderful return by Teron Pete. Again, he's dangerous in the open field, Brian.
Yeah, he is, and he did have one person to beat, and this slowed him down just enough to where a whole host of Cougars were able to tackle him then. But you're right. He's a great offensive weapon, and he's going to continue to be a great offensive weapon. And quite frankly, if I were the Cougars, I wouldn't kick it to him again.
I agree. And Jones, though, is obviously one who also has a lot of giddy-up in his step, been able to put his foot in the ground. Brian, we're at a running clock now, so this clock's going to be running for the rest of the game unless the Pioneers can put a score here and close this gap. It's going to be a quick second half.
So, Doug, you say running clock. What are the parameters to make it a running clock?
Second half up 35. So once you're at that point, the clock is going to run and is going to stop on penalty enforcement and on touchdowns. That's the only time it's going to stop. It will not stop when the ball's out of bounds or on incomplete passes.
Speaking of incomplete passes, that's exactly what happened there. Is Pete tried to go out into the flats on the far side from where we're sitting to number 3, Davion Douglas, and he just skipped it to him.
Yeah, just didn't. That's, again, a tough throw when you're going all the way from the middle of the field onto the outside, Brian. You're throwing the ball 20 yards. That's just a tough throw to make for a young man. It
is a tough throw for a young man. And, I think I would start to try and capitalize on Pete's feet, if you will. He's very, very good on his feet. And if you try to throw the ball, he might do a little bit of check down and not produce such a long throw for the young man.
Yep.
Well, once again, we have a flag on the play. It looks like the center didn't snap the ball, but everybody else moved.
Yeah, you couldn't quite tell. Did the Cougars jump, or was that? I don't know. It looks like they're marking it off back on the Pioneers. So you see the clock stops here on penalty enforcement. Now, as soon as they get it set, they'll wind it again, and it'll keep going. So,
second down.
So second down and 15. Pioneers are on their own 47-yard line, and it's 7:15 in the third quarter. It's 44-7 right now, and we talked at the beginning of the game here, Doug, that we thought this was going to be a really, really close game.
I really did, and I'm pretty surprised by this score right now, Brian. I'm actually really surprised by this score. especially when things, were going so well in that first quarter for the Pioneers on the offensive side, and haven't really done much. Cougars have kind of put the clamps down and made some adjustments.
Not only have they made adjustments, but their defense has been really, really stellar as they flip the ball out to number 17. And he's trying to cut back and forth, and he went to the far right side and cut back and ultimately ended up in the middle of the field. That was about a 60-yard run and only gained 6.
He got 6 yards. You know what? Put the position now. You're at 3rd and 8 here. Make it a little bit more manageable for the Pioneers. So that's the first time I've seen the Pioneers run that play. I won't be surprised when they come back to that one later in the game, or even run the exact same play to the left side now after getting good success on the right side.
I agree. Mathis, you could see his skill out there as he was juking, and he was breaking ankles on the Cougars defense, and eventually caught up as he was trying to cut back across the field. And once again, we have Pete in the backfield taking the ball as he's in the shotgun, and he's looking to the near side. He's rolling out. He's trying to cross it against the middle, and there's the check down throw that we were talking about as Mathis catches it about 5 yards out, puts the afterburners on, picks up a whole bunch of extra yards, and gets pushed out of bounds at about the 16.
Well, and that was a play right there. It's the first time we have seen the Pioneers run a passing play to the middle of the field. Everything they've had is out. So good play called by Coach Elmendorf and the offensive staff to roll Pete to his left and throw back to the middle of the field.
Yeah, that's something that you don't have to have a very, very strong arm to be able to do that. And once again, I think you just get it into the playmakers' hands and allow their skills and their legs to be able to pick up the extra yards. So Pete once again is in the shotgun. He's got trips on the far side. He's looking to the right. He's scrambling. That was a designed run play from the beginning. And once again, we have a flag on the play and might be targeting.
Yeah, couldn't really tell what happened there. Looks like just a good tackle, and
Flag on the play.
couldn't really see what happened, Brian. Going to try to watch on the replay here as we get to wait for the call from Mr. Nunnery, our white cap this evening.
Looked like it possibly could have been helmet to helmet pretty hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't really tell.
Can't see it from here.
No, and it looked like on the replay here, Brian, it looks like we just had a kid who landed on top of him. So we'll see if this is a call or if that's just going to get waved off.
Well, they're taking their time talking about it. They may pick the flag up and wave it off, but we'll see here as they continue to discuss this. Regardless, it's going to be a first down one way or the other. You want to talk a little bit more about some sponsors?
Yeah, let's wait for this call here. You bet. Again, thanks to these families for helping us bring you the action tonight. Pamela Hayes Hagstrom, Joe and Melissa Hubbard, Mike and Katrina Kearns, Jeff and Amber Kessler, Rich and Barb Keel, Doug and Sarah Coleman, Chad and Linda Lashley, Brad and Christine Martin, Tim and Heather Mesa, and Doug and Lizzie Meyer. Thank you very much.
Well, we got an unfortunate result here. There's a personal foul on the play, and they actually kicked out Aaron Powell from the football game.
Oh, boy, I did not see that. Okay.
I think a lot of that stemmed a little bit, Doug, from the extracurricular activity we had right before halftime, and they weren't going to put up with a whole lot more, so they...
Well, nor should they.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's exactly what we want. We want safety for the kids, and we want to make sure that they're making good choices when you're playing a violent game like football.
I would agree with that, but you got a young man out there. He's working hard. He's playing hard. To me, it didn't look intentional from here by any means.
No, it didn't look on the replay either, but, again, we're not down there on the field. We can't quite see everything that's going on.
Or hear everything.
Sure. Now, you got to wonder, did he actually get ejected, or was it just a simply the Cougars take him out, Cougars coaching staff took him off the field?
Well, he definitely is on the sidelines now, and I did see the white hat actually show the sign of as if an umpire were kicking somebody out of a baseball game.
Got it. Okay.
Pioneers, 1st and 10, goal to go on the 6-7 yard line right now. They actually have a drive.
Clock is running here. It'll keep running here unless it gets below that threshold.
So Pete is throwing. He throws it to the outside, little short. It's going to be second down once again.
And he got hit, what you call happy feet there. His feet were bouncing up and down. I think he's starting to feel the rush. He's been getting hit pretty hard in the backfield there. The defensive line of the Cougars kind of having their way with the offensive line of the Pioneers, Brian. But once again, like we've talked about in the past, is Pete seems on his best when he's on the move, whether he's rolling to his left or to his right. So, Coach Ellendorf and the offensive staff, it could be a play they're going to go back to here to get Pete on the edge and give him that run-pass option, Brian.
Yeah, Pete has Mathis lined up behind him in the backfield right now with trips on the far side, and looks like we jumped off sides. We're just breaking down on this drive.
Yeah, this is one of those things, your Coach Harrison and the coaching staff is really going to look at here on film with the kids, but then also on Monday when they're doing their conditioning, getting ready for the next week, and they're going to run them, because these kind of penalties here are mental mistakes. It's not physical, it's mental mistakes, things that cannot happen when you get in a tight ball game.
Yeah, one of the things that you really have to be careful about is getting too lax, particularly when you're up by big scores that the Cougars are right now. You kind of let off the pedal a little bit sometimes, and I never was a big fan of that. I look at it and say throw the throttle down, play a hard 4 all the way, and sometimes you make some bad mistakes that way as Pete takes a snap, fumbles it, and gets back to the line of scrimmage before he gets tackled. It's going to be third down. They're still on the 4-yard line. Cougars defense is holding up pretty good on this drive. We'll see what happens, as I'm certain that they're going to try 2 different plays yet from third down, if you will. If they don't make it on third down, I'm certain they'll go for it on fourth down, as Rubio came in and made that last tackle.
That was a nice one. Well, and 2, we also learned at halftime that Trevor Segudo, we've been talking about again, who's just got a phenomenal foot, is dinged up a little bit as well. So with him being hobbled a little bit, you're a phenomenal kicker going for this. If they would go for a field goal, you probably keep your offense out on the field in that situation.
Yeah, Pete takes it from the shotgun, gives it to Mathis, and he barrels his way into the touchdown for the Pioneers.
Come on, Mathis.
Yeah, boy, we've talked about Mathis too, and boy, he just gets a head of steam going, and now for some reason we got another penalty, got another flag thrown. Don't really know what happened there.
Well, they're setting it up on the for the extra point attempt here. Whether it's going to be kicked or a 2-point conversion, I do not know. But that penalty that they're talking about now may be put onto the kickoff, if you will.
Yep.
So as it stands right now, the Cougars are up 44-13 with 2 minutes and 54 seconds left in the third quarter. That running clock sure made the third quarter go by pretty quickly.
Really did, Bryce. So now we're just we are going to be under that threshold, and the clock is going to stop now, unless the Cougars score again to put it over that threshold at 35 points. So we'll see what happens here when the Cougars get the ball back on offense. And we are still waiting on the call from the Whitecap here, so we know what does happen. Because again, we didn't see anything after the play. It would stand to reason somebody's running their mouth after the play, Brian.
Yeah, it could very well be. And as they're still sorting that out, I want to give you a little update on what next week looks like for the Cougars, as Herman comes to town, and on 9/17 at 7 p.m. we'll have a football game here. And then the following week, the Cougars go to St. Mary's. Then we'll have DeBerg back here at home, and then we'll go to Quincy Notre Dame at their place. And then we'll play at Lutheran South and then at Priory. So after tonight's game, we have 2 more home games in the regular season and several out of town.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice to have these couple of home games here as we start the season. And the Cougars are going to be on the road the entire month of October, Brian, after a homecoming game.
And the Pioneers are actually trying for the extra point right now. They do have the kicker in Segudo, and he puts it up, and it's blocked by the Cougars. Boy, they came in off the edge, and not a chance to have that one get up and over.
And that's exactly what you want to see. Again, you talked about kind of not having the throttle or not keeping the throttle down But to have, coming right around the edge and still blocking that when you got this huge lead here as we get near the fourth quarter, Brian, that's just good effort by the Cougars on that play.
It is. Playing the hard four is what we talked about many times, and that may have taken just maybe one or two wind sprints away since they had that play after those flags being thrown.
Or Coach Harris might say, we're going to add to it. We'll see. Now we got to wonder here, Brian. Is that penalty going to be enforced here? And here's an opportunity. If I'm Coach Elmendorf, I am definitely going to onside kick here.
Yeah, why not, right?
28 in the clean.
Probably would anyways, try to get yourself back in this football game. But also you have this penalty, which we still haven't figured out what it was or what it was for. But nevertheless, they're going to be kicking off here from plus territory.
Yeah, Coach Harris is down there right now talking to the boys in the zebra stripes, and he's pleading his case pretty hard, and I think he's not going to be on the winning end of that one.
Yeah, not when you got an official there. Officials, once they make their decision, they're going to move on. So looks like the Pioneers now from that 15-yard penalty, they're going to be kicking off from the 45-yard line here. So again, if you're the Cougars, you might want to get your hands team here, get our special teams coach to kind of rally the troops and get ready to recover this onside kick, which I would expect is coming.
I agree. You talk about the 45-yard line. It's the 45-yard line of the Cougars, so they're kicking off in the Cougar territory.
Yep. This is dangerous because I tell you what, you give the ball back to the Pioneers here. Pioneers score. All of a sudden, you're only up 3 scores at that point with the entire fourth quarter to go, and teams come back from a lot less than that. So, still a ball game here.
I think it is a ball game, and you can't take too many memories. And the ball falls off the tee as Segudo was ready to kick the ball away. But last year was quite the opposite. Duchesne was up big, and we came storming back, and we don't want that to happen this year against us.
Absolutely.
So as the ball gets put back on the tee, we're ready to go, and Segudo comes up, and to your point, it's just a little bit of a chip shot. McLean comes up and catches it, and he's got a little bit of open room, and got about 6 yards on the return, and it's going to be first down for the Cougars on the 27-yard line.
Hey, I'm surprised by that we didn't see an onside kick, but nevertheless, Cougars are going to take over here on about the 30-yard line here. Clock is now going to stop, Brian, because we are below that 35-point threshold, with Cougars leading this game 44-13 as time ticks down in the third quarter.
Doug, talk a little bit about the number of students that we have this year. I know last year we had just over 400, but there had been some more added to it this year.
Yeah, last year we were at 404, Brian, and this year we're at 441. So, again, a 10% growth, and just healthy feeder schools that we do have, and continue to have more opportunities to have kids at Lutheran High School, Brian.
Yeah, boy, that's awesome. We're talking about the feeder schools as Coffey gets a handoff and gives it to Aiden, and he gets stood up at the line and maybe gains a yard.
3, Aiden Harris with the football.
So talk a little bit about these feeder schools, Doug. Are there 4, or are there 5, or how many are there?
We got 6 of them, Brian, and as their enrollment grows, it helps our enrollment to grow. It looks like we got another flag here. Again, just 20 yards away from the play. Not really sure, again, what happened, but been a lot of yellow on the field here this second half, on both the Cougars and the Pioneers. Stuff you don't want to see, kind of really ruins the flow of the game.
Yeah, I think they're getting a little bit flag happy, trying to keep everything under control, but, rightfully so. You don't want anything to get out of control, because once tempers start flaring, you can't stop those things very easily.
No, absolutely not. So got another officiating crew getting together here, trying to figure out and sort out exactly what happened.
So, Doug, you're talking about some of those feeder schools. We have 6 of them. They're spread out across the county in St. Charles.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. No, thanks, Brian. And each of them has a different flavor. Each of them brings a different type of education for kids. You're going to have some that are smaller. You got like Trinity Orchard Farm. You got a 3-room schoolhouse. So you have kids in multiple grades learning at the same time, whereas you have other schools. Here's the call. Looks like an unsportsmanlike penalty on Duchesne.
And that player gets kicked out of the ball game too.
I think that's what we just saw. Somebody's not going to be playing next week, and you hate to see that for either team, Brian. When you have kids getting ejected, so now these kids they're going to sit out then for a game. And again, we talked about how you only have so many of those. So, yeah. And no, Brian. So you're going to have a school like a Trinity Orchard Farm, on the smaller end of the spectrum. Then you have others where you have 2 or 3 classes per grade. And as those schools grow and continue to do a good job with their teaching staffs and their leadership, it helps Lutheran High, being feeder schools where we're out there and we're working with those kids to get them at Lutheran High School for their high school experience here in St. Charles County.
And as our spotter just told us, Doug said that the person that got kicked out was number 4, Terrell Pete.
Oh, goodness, okay.
That's a big blow for the Pioneers.
That is.
And he's a big part of the offense and the defense.
Is that what the announcer said? I thought I still see Pete out on the field.
Number 5, the younger Teron Pete is out there, but number 4, Terrell,
got it. Okay.
was the one that was
I missed that.
kicked out of the ball game.
Yeah.
So this is favorable for the Cougars as Coffee goes back from the shotgun. He's looking deep to the left-hand side. Nice throw, bumping and grinding, and I think that was a good no call right there.
I was going to say, yeah, that could have been called pass interference. But again, when you got a team that's got a big lead like the Cougars did, you're not going to get the beneficiary of those calls.
I agree. Caleb Mays was down the far sidelines and almost there, but not quite.
And nice throw by Coffee. Again, the offensive line has been doing great. Coffee hasn't even been hit tonight, except when he decided to run the ball up the middle for that nice, 12-yard gain on 3rd and 9 there as the Cougars were ready to punch it in the first quarter. So good job again we've talked about the Cougars offensive line, either making holes for one of the 3 running backs tonight or holding out the pass rush of the Pioneers, Brian.
So is Coffee getting any type of looks from the next level in college football?
Absolutely. I mean, when you got a frame like him and a cannon of an arm like him, definitely so.
Coffee's looking right. He checks off and goes left and just overthrows the intended receiver, Mays.
Center for Caleb Mays brings up 3rd down.
Now you come up on 3rd and long here. Cougars were in that mode of having a good run-pass mix, and now they've gone a couple of deep passes the last couple of plays. You'll see what Coach Harris comes back with here as time continues to tick down in the 3rd quarter, Brian.
Yeah, it's 2:18 left in the 3rd quarter, 44-13 Cougars, as they are 3rd and 10 on their own 43-yard line, coming to the line. And up under center is Coffee right now. You got trips to the near side. You got the lone back. And one receiver on the far side as Gibson takes the handoff with another flag coming from the backside. It's probably going to be holding if I would have to guess, but he ended up getting 12 on the play. We'll see what the call is.
Yeah, we're going to get a hold. Mathis was getting held there. He was going to make a play on AJ in the backfield. So good job fighting off that block. Cougars are now going to have 3rd and even longer, Brian.
Well, I think that was a good call. They ended up having a lot of blocking on the outside, but, you can't hold.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can, but you get caught. It's not a good thing. So the Cougars are going to get pushed back here pretty far. They're going to be back on their own 30-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and very long. We'll see what happens here. I don't know. Play it safe, Doug, or are you going to try and throw it?
Tough play, because you did get that huge gain on the running play. So, and the Cougars have had these huge plays on the running plays. So, does Coach Harris go back to that, or do you try to throw one deep and then have to punt if you need to?
Yeah, Coffee once again's in a shotgun, and he hands it off. A little trickery. Goes to AJ, and then he hands it off to McLean, who takes it up the left-hand side, bounces out to the outside, and finally gets knocked out of bounds near the 50-yard line. That was a heck of a call right there.
Again, another nice wrinkle. Coach Harris and the offensive staff, again, that's another new play we have not seen this season, one the kids have been practicing all summer. So now you set yourself up on a manageable 4th down if you do, in fact, decide to go for this and not punt the ball away, Brian.
Yeah, I would agree, and it looks like they're going to stay in and actually go for it on 4th down. They're on their own 46-yard line, and why not? So Coffee's lining up in shotgun. Once again, we have trips to the near side. You have AJ in the backfield. they may try and run that play around the edge once again. You got blockers, so why not give it to A.J. and have him go around the outside?
Yeah, well, that time they were there and just met him in the backfield, so.
Sometimes it's hard to run the same play twice.
Yep, and they try to run that stretch with the zone blocking in front of it, and the Pioneers just stopped it on that play. So good defensive stand by the Pioneers. You know, we talked about it earlier, Brian. I mean, this is still a ball game. I know it's a 44-13 score, but if you're the Pioneers and you can put one in the end zone and then onside kick and get the ball back, all of a sudden you're down just 2 scores. So Cougars got to stiffen up here on defense.
Yeah, I would agree. They can't let their guard down by any means, as the Pioneers are taking over on the 43-yard line of the Cougars. So this is a ball game, and we have to be able to continue to play strong. As they're bringing in their play right now, Pete is going to be lining up here and got a couple of receivers on the near side and the far side. And we got a new running back into the game, number 42, Paulette. Pete takes the handoff, looks to the right, tosses it out into the flat to number 2. Awesome stick. Rob Jones gets hammered by A.J. Wow, that was a nice tackle.
Yeah, it really was. He came up and really did a nice job on that tackle. So good job. His helmet popped off. He'll have to come out for a play here, I believe. And he knows it, so he comes right off on the field.
He comes off, and Michael Parr Jr. comes in for him, and he'll get a little breather.
He will. It looked like that play had some life in it, had some open grass, but boy, A.J. really just shot out of a cannon there and came up and made a nice stick to not give any open running room to Jones.
Yeah, he closed the gap very, very nicely on that play, and you know, it's a very similar formation do the Pioneers have tonight again on this play, as Pete takes the snap, and once again the receiver falls down as he's trying to make a cut. So there was an incomplete pass.
Yeah, you got to wonder here. You know, that was Cam Lee who slipped down there. Pioneers had a hard time with their footing tonight. I haven't seen the same thing with the Cougars. Granted, this is their home field. They're used to playing on this kind of turf. Pioneers play on a grass field at their home. So, you know, again, you got to wonder there. Is it a cleat piece, or is it just the Pioneers not being used to playing on a turf field?
I'm going to say it's a little bit of both. And you know, for the Cougars, if they go play the Pioneers on their home field, it's a whole different field with real live grass versus a turf field.
Yep, and the Pioneers have played their first 2 games at home, so they've been on that grass surface, Brian, not on the turf.
Yeah, good call. Pete's in shotgun, and it looks like the Pioneers like to throw it coming up here. They're going down deep down the middle, and oh, nice. Cam Lee comes back, and the ball was underthrown, and he makes a nice little cutback play and gets into the end zone. Pioneers.
Now, you know, again, we talked about it. So now we're going to be Cougars do have this big lead and built it up at halftime, and now all of a sudden it's going to be 44-19 and extra point looming here. So you got a 24-point lead, which again is only 3 scores, Brian.
It is, and you cannot, as we've stated many times, let your guard down against any football team, particularly Duchesne, because they have a good football team. They just got behind early, and now they're playing catch-up, and they are doing that. They are catching up.
Yep. Well, again, we've talked about this too. Once you have an opportunity to, keep your foot on the gas, you do that. You know, games are never out of reach in high school football. You can score so quickly and do a good job on defense to get the ball back.
Yeah, it looks like the Pioneers trying to figure out what they want to do here. They at first sent the kicker out, and then now the clock is going to start, and we'll see if they send the kicker back out. But the Cougars, they're lined up on defense, ready to defend this extra point. And now it looks like they're going to try and go for 2. They're hurrying up pretty quickly to try and get down there, so there are only 7 seconds left on the play clock, and they're going to have snapped this ball pretty quickly. And we have another flag.
Well, you got to wonder what happened there, Brian. I mean, they had plenty of time after a score to get a play in here, so probably a little miscommunication on the Pioneers and the offensive coaching staff.
Yeah, I would agree. And a penalty is on the Pioneers. They're going to push them back another 5 yards, so they're going to try and go for it again, I would assume.
Absolutely. Now you got to wonder, when the Cougars get the ball back here on offense, does Coach Harris go back to that bread and butter running game that built up this huge lead for the Cougars, or do we put the ball in the air and see what we can do?
Doug, I like putting the ball on the ground and running it, and every now and then throwing the ball up into the air, particularly at the high school level. Pete's in a shotgun formation as he takes a snap, and he's surveying the field to the left, and we busted the play up, and they ended up making a nice reception, and boy, I tell you, we ended up having a nice tackle at the end there by Michael Parr Jr.
Yeah. Was that Michael Parr?
No, that was Charles Young, actually.
That was Charles Young made that play. Nice play. Nice play by Charles.
So the two-point conversion is non-existent for the Pioneers right now, and at 34.7 seconds left in the third quarter, the Cougars are up 44-19. Doug, more sponsorships?
A couple more of our sponsors here. You bet, Brian. Matt and Allie McCullough, Bryce and Lori Murhoff, Karen Milster, David and Michelle Reed, Scott and Holly Rodman, Mike and Melissa Ruse, Rodney and Charlene Sailors, Tom and Terry Seiler, Bill and Westy Smith, Tom and Nancy Spar, Art and Nyla Sanderson, Jason and Julie Shaw, Charles and Stacy Smith, Mac and Sandy Talent, Ryan and Courtney Vanderpool, Mike and Kelly Van Pamel, Mike and Kathy Versman, Andy and Shay Wiggins, Greg and Nicole Wood, Wes and Kristen Young, Keith and Shereen Yuen, and Keith and Amy Zumbell.
Nice. Thank you very much for all the sponsors.
You know, Brian, I do also need to say again, we talked a little bit about earlier about our director of community relations here at Lutheran High, Mr. Glenn Mankin, and his wife's birthday. And apparently they were out to dinner when we gave the shout out earlier. So they are now listening and watching the game. So again, happy birthday to Mrs. Laura Mankin. Again, 29th birthday.
29.
I know,
That is
29.
amazing.
It's
Happy
awesome.
birthday,
It's awesome.
Laura.
Happy birthday.
Hopefully your hubby Glenn took you to a nice restaurant. You're able to enjoy a good dinner out and celebrate.
Absolutely. You know, if I know Glenn, and you never know, I do and I don't. I wonder if he went to the Pine Room. He's always talking about the Pine Room, and I don't know what that means. But as a St. Charles guy, you probably do, and I've heard that's a great place. So perhaps they went there this evening. Who
That
knows?
could very well be. They have good steaks at the Pine Room.
I'll hear about it on Monday morning, I'm sure.
Yes, you will. And Segudo is set to kick off to the Cougars, and he's going to do a little bit of a punch kick to the second line, and the up guy gets it, and that's Gibson, and you know what? Gibson's got some speed too, and he's able to return it for about 7 yards. We're back for the Cougars on the 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line.
Well, now again, we've talked about this, Brian. If I'm Coach Harris, again, and I'm not, definitely nowhere near that, but I'm running the ball. I'm not going to put the ball in the air. I want this clock to run. We got this big lead. We kind of want to close this game out and put one up into the end zone again, and potentially put this game out of reach with another couple scores.
I'm in agreement with you, and got to have a little bit of clock maintenance as you're running the football. But you got a huge weapon, several huge weapons in the backfield. Why not use them?
And a phenomenal offensive line that's just been washing down the entire play. And here we go back to the
Yeah,
run.
Aiden gets the ball up the middle, and he cuts it to the outside. He's getting the corner, and boy, he had a nice run of about 20 yards.
Yep.
Number 3, Aiden Harris.
Well, and you love that after he's the one that's tackled. He's getting up quicker than those Duchesne kids. So I think those Duchesne kids, again, they've been playing the entire game, and shout out to them for just keep firing and keep doing a great job on the defensive side.
I agree. Cam Lee came up and made the tackle on that, but it's interesting because Aiden, when you have a good run like that, you tend to pop up, but he's been popping up all night long, and he's a tough one to bring down as the third quarter is winding down with the Cougars leading 44-19 as we head to the fourth quarter, and you know what? Let's play a hard 4.
At the end of the third.
You know, I like how, and again, many football teams do this, but you see the Cougars here, and every game I've seen this now since Coach Harris has been our coach for the last 6 years. You know, they're always talking about the fourth quarter. You want to win the fourth quarter. If you look at that third quarter, Brian, the Cougars lost that third quarter where they, only scored that one touchdown. The Pioneers put 2 on the board. So definitely an interesting quarter where the Cougars kind of took their foot off the gas and kind of thought, hey, yeah, the game's over. No, it's not, Brian. Yes, it's a 25-point game here going into the fourth quarter, but again, you got to play a full 4 quarters. So be interested to see if the Cougars can continue to matriculate the ball down the field and punch it in the end zone.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It was an interesting fact that I was reading at halftime, and they were talking about some college uniforms, Doug, and they were trying to figure out what were the top 10 college uniforms that are going to be donned this weekend. Would you have any guesses who the number one was?
Well, as a homer, and as a big fan of the University of Oregon, I guarantee Oregon was one of those top 10, if not number one.
They were number one. That's why I bring it up. I didn't know that you were an Oregon fan.
You didn't? Really? Man, you are probably one of the few people in St. Charles County that does not know that. I think I'm the only Oregon Duck fan in St. Charles County outside of my wife and kids. So
you do realize that was said with tongue-in-cheek?
I do.
From a man from Willamette Valley in Washington.
That's right.
Or Oregon, yes?
Yes, Oregon.
Oregon.
Correct.
They're both up that way.
They're both up, yeah. Pretty close.
Coffee takes a snap. He's looking to the left-hand side, overthrows A.J. for the incomplete pass. Going to be 2nd and 10 for the Cougars as they're on their own 35-yard line, or actually the Pioneers' 35-yard line, as they're ready to try and score again.
Well, and they should, Brian. I mean, this game, again, it's a 25-point lead for the Cougars, but the game's not over. You got an entire fourth quarter. You got 11 minutes, 56 seconds to go in this game, Brian. So Cougars, again, have to keep that foot on the gas, not let up.
Yeah, they do, and I just got an update here for all you Cardinal fans out there. The Cincinnati Reds ended up breaking the tie. That was 2-2, and Cincinnati won 4-2. As Coffee hands the ball off to A.J., he's trying to get the corner, stiffs arms a Pioneer defender and picks up about 3 or 4 yards. Boy, the defender hit the ground pretty hard, Davian Douglas did.
Yep. Nice tackle by Davion Douglas there. Again, Cougars run that stretch play in the offense. I love seeing the offensive line blocking scheme on that. On the left side, again, just took a couple, 3-4 of those guys. Again, those big 300-pound defensive tackles that the Pioneers do have, and just moved them out of the way and allowed opportunity for AJ to just find some running room to set up a third and manageable here.
Agreed, but our offensive line also, Doug, they're getting out there and they're trying to get in front of the play, even though it's a stretch play. So they're doing very good for us as well. And Aiden Harris gets the misdirection going up the middle, cuts back to the left, picks up several yards. It looks like we're going to get the first down for the Cougars.
Yeah, and this is what the Cougars need right here is AJ, Aiden, Rod, throw, AJ, Aiden, Rod, throw, or some variation thereof. And that's when the Cougars are at their best moving the ball, Brian, on the offensive side.
That kind of sounded like a cadence of 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe there's a mesh in there every now.
There you go. We haven't seen that mesh in the second half here. So
we haven't, as the Pioneers down on the field right now, slow to get up. Ooh, that's number 17. He's a stalwart for them in Mathis.
He really is. Again, we've talked about him earlier. Future Division I athlete here. Another couple of years. His junior year at Duchesne. So he got another year as a senior, and he will be going somewhere to play at the next level. He's a special young player. A good kid who's definitely forced to be reckoned with here for the Cougars tonight, but the Pioneers will lean on him the remainder of the season as well, Brian.
Yeah, I would agree. 6'4", 220-pound junior. He's got a bright future in front of him.
Yes, he does.
Cougars are going to be 1st and 10 on the Pioneer 19, and if I were the Cougars, I'd start pounding the ball up the middle like we just kept saying, or continue to at least. But who am I as Coffee rolls out to the right-hand side and into the flats and gets the ball out to number 6, Michael Parr Jr., and he's knocked out of the bounds at about the 7-yard line. Nice little pitch and catch.
Yeah, it was a nice pitch and catch. You notice Michael there, too. I think he learned his lesson from that pass he dropped early. He really looked that one in, made sure he had it, then he turned and went upfield. So good job by Michael.
Absolutely. He tucked the ball in, too. He wasn't going to take anything for granted on that one, as the Cougars are marching on this drive, and they're on their 7-yard line of the Pioneers with 10:37 left in the fourth quarter. Cougars up 44-19, first down. We'll see if we can get one into the end zone here. As Coffee, he's taking the pass, surveying the field, and who would you guess gets the Cougar touchdown?
Nice throw and catch. Nice slant route again. The Cougars have, I like the mix up there, Brian. We talked about it earlier. Cougars are at their best offensively when it's run, pass, run, and have a nice balanced offense. It kind of puts the Pioneers on their heels, and they're going to be guessing where the ball is going to be going, because you got so many guys keying in on AJ that the throwing lanes like that just open up, and for a nice pitch and catch, like you said.
Yeah, Michael Parr ends up with the touchdown, and once again, we haven't said this tonight, but that was a 7 route, Doug, and he looked the ball in all the way in and made certain that he caught that for a touchdown.
He did. Definitely did not want to have a repeat of that one earlier in the game. That he will watch that on film on over the weekend and really want it back.
Yes, he will. Interesting formation here for the Cougars as they have two people in the backfield. They have a center and they have their whole line on the near side.
This is interesting. Again, another wrinkle for the Cougars, Brian.
Yeah, well, they passed the ball to AJ, who had like 10 people in front of him, and he barrels it in for
barrels his way in there to the end zone, doesn't he?
But there is a flag on the field, so we'll see what happens.
Boy, as we're waiting on this flag, it's nice to have one of my other former players come visit me up here, Calvin Roach. So Calvin's doing a little bit of filming down there and getting his feet wet in the media. And we're going to have an illegal substitution. I do believe the Cougars broke the huddle with 12 players, so caused an issue. And now we'll see what the Cougars are going to have to be marched back 5 yards and go do it again.
And they're making their substitutions as we speak right now, but 50-19. That's a big score right now with 10:33 left. Clock's going to start running again, is it not?
I believe it will. Nope, check.
Nope.
No, it will not. It will not. My math is not that good.
We gotta put a little bit more on the board before that happens.
I see our compatriot up here, Doug, is shaking his head no, like you don't know how to do math.
He said no.
He's 100% right.
He said no. Coffee takes a snap, surveying the right, looks to the left, and it's picked off in the end zone. 2-point conversion is not good at all. So with 10:33 left in the fourth, it's 50-19 Cougars. As Doug was just saying here, the cheerleaders do jumping jacks after each score, and right now they are doing 50 jumping jacks. I don't know about you, I think I'd be worn out after doing 10 maybe, but 50, more power to them. Cougars are lining up right now to kick the ball away from their own 40-yard line to the Pioneers, and once again, as Doug is talking with his former player right now, Cougars got to keep the pedal down and continue to play a tough four, very hard four, and we'll see what happens here as they continue to line up, get their play call in, and I bet you they're going to come up and try and kick the ball deep, or at least keep it away from the deep players, because their biggest offense, as Doug has said before, has been the return game on the receiving end here.
Yeah, so you're going to kind of think another pop-up here and or give it to him a quick one. And
that's exactly what they did. Number 10, Uriah Clark, took the kickoff, but holy cow, did he get smoked.
He just got hit pretty hard there. It looks like he had the Cougars kind of push the blocker in front of him back into him there. So, and that's not terrible, because again, then you're setting the Pioneers up with good field position, but you're also negating a huge return that the Pioneers have had.
Yeah, I would agree. They're almost equidistant, if you will, if you base the averages, but I kind of like that little punch kick, if you will. There's a lot more opportunity to be able to get a fumble out of that, because you have defensive opportunities to come in and pop the ball loose, whereas if you kick it deep, you got the momentum from the Pioneers, and they could return it pretty far, as we've seen many times. Pete's looking. He's going back. Actually, the ball was tipped and overthrown, but Josh Baker Mays actually took the snap, and he's going to head off to the sidelines right now, as it was an incomplete pass, going to be 2nd down and 10 for the Pioneers.
So I'm not seeing Pete right now. Is he out of the game, or is he injured, or is Baker Mays just taking this series on offense, Brian?
I think Baker Mays is taking the series, at least on offense on this one. I do not see Pete currently on the sidelines, but Baker Mays is in the backfield, and he is flanked right now by Mathis. That's good to see that Mathis isn't hurt right now. So the handoff goes to Mathis. He goes to the outside, breaks a tackle, and gets tackled by number 45, Joseph Roach of the Cougars for about a 7-yard gain.
Well, he's just a big load to bring down. It seems like the last few years the Pioneers have had a big running back like that who's just real tough to bring down once he gets his head of steam, Brian.
Yeah, it's 3rd down and 2 right now, and quite frankly, the Pioneers are in 4-down territory from here on out, if you will, as they need to continue to score and score often and quickly.
Well, you got 2 downs here to get this 3 yards. So if I'm Coach Ellendorf, I'm keeping the ball on the ground because I had success last play.
And he's doing just that. He gives it back to Mathis, and he got sniffed out pretty quickly. You had number 55, Rubio, actually 53 was making the tackle in Wanstedt. And we had another guy had him wrapped up at number 55, Rubio, on the bottom side.
Now here's another interesting call. I'm watching for the fake punt here. I do not understand why you're punting here. You're down 31 points, yes, but there's 9 minutes left in the ball game. And it looks like Jamon Mathis is kind of limping off here, so that's a potential there when one of your star players is not going to be able to go on a critical fourth down play.
In the kick, number 21, Trevor Segudo.
Segudo is back to kick right now to punt, and the snap was short, and he does a little squib kick down the side, knocks it out of bounds. It looks like it went out about the 30-yard line, 32-yard line actually. That's where the Cougars going to start 1st and 10 from their own 32 with 8:45 left in the fourth. 50-19, Cougars are leading.
Yeah, definitely an interesting call. Again, Coach Ellendorf went for that on 4th down towards the end of the first half, and now you're in more almost plus territory, and yet you decide to punt. So, interesting call.
Kick one out of bounds.
I agree. It seems like the Pioneers are getting banged up quite a bit now, and they have another player limping off as a medical professional comes over to help them.
Well, I think we heard as we're kind of going at halftime here that the Pioneers were banged up kind of coming into this game. So when you have some of your horses out early in the game, you're kind of looking at it now going, okay, let's live to play another game. Because I'll tell you right now, these two teams are going to play down the road in the playoffs. Both these teams are in that Class 2 district together, and I will not be surprised to see another district championship game either at Duchesne or at Lutheran High down the road.
Yeah, what I think's interesting about that is you're not going to be able to take anybody for granted on that in that game at all.
No, definitely, especially too. Last year when the Cougars played that game, Cougars won the regular season, and Duchesne then got revenge in the district championship. Arguably a bigger game of the season, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. As Thomas gains 8 on the play, it's going to be 2nd down with 2 to go from their own 40-yard line. Do the Cougars have as Coffey lines up in the shotgun formation with wide receivers, 2 on both sides, and he's throwing it out into the flats. He just threw the ball behind number 23, Caleb Mays, for 3rd down now on an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brian. He just missed there. That play was open and just kind of threw it a little bit behind Caleb. Otherwise, Caleb would have taken that and got an easy 1st down, and Cougars would have had to set themselves up near midfield.
So 3rd down and 2 from the 40-yard line, and this here looks like it's setting itself up perhaps for a sweep play to the left side, but we'll see. It's a short field, and you hand the ball off, and boy, our offensive line just put a big old hole in there for Gibson.
My goodness. I mean, name of the game tonight, Brian, has just been our offensive line has won this football game. Just, again, giving Coffey time. I don't think Coffey's been hit yet tonight. And just huge holes to run the ball. No answer for the Pioneers defense.
I agree. Chandler and Dunlap both just blew that hole open big time from the O-line, and he had a 1st down before he even touched the ball.
He did. Yep.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Cougars with 8:04 left in the ball game. They are in Pioneer territory at Pioneers 47. The ball's handed off to number 22, Jamel Thomas, as he cuts and weaves and bobs his way all the way up to near 1st down.
Yeah, again, just opening up huge holes, Brian.
Yeah, Douglas was on the tackle once again. Looks like he's going to be about a yard short, but boy, 9-yard gain. You get a 9-yard play on every time you touch the ball. I'll take that.
Absolutely. Shoot, you get a 4-yard play every time you touch the ball. You'll take that, right?
Yeah, you betcha.
Well, I like how Coach Harris has some other kids getting some action there. So good opportunities to see somebody besides Harris, one of the Harris brothers, or Rod running the ball.
Yeah, Coffee goes back and he slings a bullet out to the outside to Thomas. It just went off of his finger, so it's going to be 3rd down and 1 for the Cougars.
Yeah, nice throw by Coffee on that play, Brian. We just Thomas didn't get his head around in time. That was a real quick throw, and that's one of those things where you're coming into the flow of a game and you got to get yourself up to it right away in a varsity football game and snap your head around and make that catch.
So once again, Coffey's in the shotgun and he hands it off to Gibson, and Gibson just goes right up the middle, barrels his way through a linebacker and picks up about 8 yards.
Brought down by Tony and Sam Jost.
I think Douglas got the worst end of that hit.
He did. He just put his head down and said, we're going to get a first down here and keep moving the ball down the field.
Yeah, it's time to continue to run this ball, as we've talked about many times. You got Gibson in the backfield right now. Tritz to the near side, and Coffey looks. He throws it on to the outside. We have a couple of blockers, but boy, nice defensive play to be able to save that from a big play and only picked up 1 or 2 yards as Mays is tackled pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're right. Clark, who took a brunt on that kickoff here earlier, he really came up and split a double team block. Cougars had 2 blockers out in front of that. That play should have gone for more than 2 yards over to Caleb, but nevertheless, good play by Uriah.
So it's 2nd down and 9. Cougars get the call in from the sidelines, and they're lining up. You still have Gibson in the background. You have 3 receivers to the far side, and Coffey is surveying the field as he's in the shotgun, and the snap comes off. He's looking to the right-hand side, and the ball's pitched to the outside. Number 22 gets it, and, of course, Pioneers are there to sniff it out pretty quickly as Thomas gets tackled pretty fast for no gain.
Sure. In a play like that, you got to wonder if, as we've been running the ball with such, just ease, so to speak, here on this drive, but also most of tonight, are we kind of showing other teams some different things that we're going to be able to do as we throw these quick passes out into the flats? Because we're not really gaining much yardage on them, Brian. Not
gaining much yardage at all, and you can guarantee there are other teams here scouting the Cougars to see what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they do it, what the score is when they do it. There's a lot of factors in this as Coffey takes the handoff and gives it to number 20, who sweeps to the outside as McLean tries to break a few tackles. He picks up about 3 yards, and it's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, it looks like we got a flag over here, which, again, 20 yards from the play. I don't really know what was going on there. To kind of watch the replay there, Brian.
Well, there's no indication yet. Hopefully the replay will be able to tell us what it is. They're still discussing it.
I see it down here. Looks like he got an offensive lineman block and tell the whistle. And I think, again, you got a 30-point lead with 5 minutes. Again, I like the offensive lineman blocking 20 yards down the field. I have no problem with that penalty whatsoever. Because you want to teach your kids play to the whistle. I don't care if it's 20 yards away. You got to keep your head on a swivel and play football.
Yeah, it ended up being a 15-yard penalty, but you're right, even though it's late in the ball game and you got a big lead, you do play to the whistle, continue to put that throttle down and play that hard 4, as we've talked about many, many times. Now for the Cougars, as they come up, it's 3rd down, and I think all the way to at least 40 yards.
yeah, 3rd about, exactly. Got a wild ways to go. And again, you got 2 downs to get this because you're in plus territory as the clock ticks down at the end of the 4th quarter here, Brian.
Yeah, Coffey is surveying the field as he's going to take the snap here, and here it goes, and he looks to fake to the right-hand side, and it was a design play for a quarterback keep all the way up. He picks up about 10 or 11 yards, and it's going to be 4th down and 9 to go. That was actually a good call, Doug. I like that call on 3rd down, and it picks up a few extra yards and gives you a little bit more options and opportunities on this 4th down play.
Absolutely.
Cougars, all on the 29-yard line.
So they are going for it, the Cougars are, with 4th down and 4:25 left in the 4th quarter. And we have another whistle. We're going to have a timeout for the Cougars.
Well, again, we've been getting so many yards on the ground. You put the ball in the hands of one of the running backs. Again, you don't even have some of the starters in the game anymore. Put one of these, give an opportunity for another kid to touch the ball, and you're probably going to get a first down on a run the way the offensive line's been opening up holes all night, Brian.
Yeah, our offensive line has been very impressive tonight as we continue to wind down this game. 50-19, 4:21 left. Tell you, it's been a beautiful night out here. The sun's gone down. The moon has disappeared. I don't see it anymore, but a little chilly as the night is starting to wane a little bit here. But I got to tell you, Doug, I love this weather.
No, it's much better than what we had here a couple weeks ago when we were doing the broadcast, Brian, when we were sweating profusely is a nice, polite way to say that. So. And I do, like you, appreciate as the weather gets cooler here as we get deeper into the football season.
Yeah, no doubt. So 4th down and 7 to go as Coffey's in the shotgun. Snap comes up. Actually, had a defensive line jump and no call. Good call to not call anything. Coffey's rolling out to the right side. Throws off of his feet, and boy, we have a flag. That's a good call. That's pass interference.
Yeah, when you're just blanketing the receiver and just kind of tackling him as you're going in. That's one of those plays. If you're a Pioneer, you got to know the down distance. Know it's 4th and a mile, and you're not going to get a first down there. So that's one of those ones you just let him run and. Ball wouldn't have been caught anyways, Brian.
Yeah, I would agree. Hey, what do you think about the NFL season this year? With we just had the inaugural game, if you will, of the Bucs and the Cowboys. Do you have a favorite for who might go all the way this year?
Well, Seahawks. I mean, I'll tell you what. One team it's not going to be is the Packers. I just no.
Well, I should have known that you and Russell want to go all the way on the Seahawks to win the whole thing. As Gibson gets the handoff, he goes to the outside, cuts it to the inside. Touchdown, Cougars!
Touchdown, 34, Rod Gibson.
He just goes right up the middle and barreled his way in there. Nice running play by Gibson.
Absolutely. I'll be interested to see. And now we're being told by our mathematician up here in the booth it will be a running clock. So after this kickoff, clock's going to stop and start once the kickoff, and we'll be out of here quick and be able to enjoy our night. But I'll tell you what, Brian, like we've talked about all night, the running lanes for the Cougars have been huge, just churning up yardage on the ground. So
yeah, that was a touchdown before he touched the ball. You can see that our line has done really well. They have just worn down the Pioneer defensive line as we're trying for the 2-point conversion, and it failed as number 18 actually took the snap good, and it was just incomplete.
Yeah, Charlie made a nice throw on that, and got a good strong arm, and he'll be in position here as our backup quarterback right now to be fighting for it next year as Coffey is a senior. So good to see him get in the game and be able to toss a rock on a 2-point conversion.
Toss the rock. You got to love the vernacular that we have as we continue to wind down the minutes here. It's 56-19 with 4:11 left. The clock will be running once the kickoff goes, as Doug says, and Doug says. So I'll take 2 Dougs telling me what to say. As the clock runs, we'll take it.
So, Brian, it has been interesting here. We're creeping up to 10:30 here, and anytime a game has a running clock, you kind of expect it to be done a little bit sooner here, but this is going to be a late night, and for those of us that have to get up early in the morning tomorrow, ooh.
So is this past your bedtime, Doug?
Yeah, a wee bit. When you get up at 4:15 in the morning on a Friday morning, get ready for your day, it's late when it gets to be 10:30. And when you got to be at the airport the next morning by about 5 a.m. to get on a flight to go to Indianapolis, it's even later.
Have coaches meeting in Indianapolis, huh?
No, not that. Just got a few events, so
all right.
It'll be good to travel.
No doubt about that. But anytime you wake up with a 4 with the first number, that's early in my book.
It's early. You're not kidding.
So once again, the Cougars are lining up. They're going to kick the ball away, and my guess is it's not going to be kicked very deep.
It's where it's been. You look at the even the deep guys are on the 25-yard line. I think you're right.
There's a little punch kick. It goes to the second line. It's fumbled around, rightfully so. Just landed on by the Pioneers. They'll start off on the 41-yard line on their own 41. It'll be 1st and 10.
Yeah, you see that clock running now. This will be a quick 4 minutes here, and we will be able to celebrate another Cougar victory before we get into looking ahead to the Herman game here next week, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some new personnel out on the field for the Cougars. Like the idea of being able to get some of the younger guys some playing time on a varsity football game. That's special to be able to get to play, particularly if you're a younger freshman or a sophomore that doesn't get in all that often. It's nice to be able to get into the ball game.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of those guys too have a game coming up on Monday in a JV game, so get an opportunity there, and also be fun to be here on a Friday night.
Yeah, as the Pioneers take the handoff up the middle, and he has one guy to beat as he keeps going, and nice tackle from behind as Pioneers get all the way down to the 20-yard line. Number 9 actually took the handoff, Jarriott. And, boy, he looked pretty good on that run.
He really had a lot of juice behind his step there. Good touchdown-saving tackle there.
Charles Young actually made the tackle at the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, 3:01 left. And it looks like we have an injured player on the field right now, too, for the Pioneers.
Yeah, you've had a lot of kids go down with cramps. You hate to see that there.
Yeah, that was just Jarriott who just had that run, and it definitely looks like a cramp as they're trying to
just cramping up.
Help him out, stretch that out.
Well, we said earlier we were going to be out of here quick, and now with stoppages like this, it's going to take a little more time.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see he got up, and he's running off on his own. We have Pete coming in for Jarriott as, well, we got both. Well, one Pete and number 6 is coming in too, Baker Mays. As the clock begins again, it's winding down. 2:55 left in the ball game. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. Pioneers line up. And Baker Mays is going to take it from the shotgun position. He's surveying the defense as the snap comes to him right now. And he's looking to throw the left side, cuts back to the right side, and through the hands. Good defensive play for an incomplete pass as number 8 defended that, Charles Young.
Yeah, good defense on that. He had some time to throw the ball there. Good job by the offensive line of the Pioneers to hold out that rush of the Cougars.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Once again, the Pioneers are trying to figure out what needs to be done. Clock continues to wind with 2:09 left in the ball game. And I tell you, the Cougars are actually in a position right now. They look like they have some spunk left in them yet this late in the ball game.
Absolutely, and a lot of guys who haven't seen a lot of action yet today. So
they want to prove to the coaches, hey, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
There you go.
Baker Mays takes the handoff. He's rolling out to the left-hand side, getting chased, flushed out of the pocket, continues to be chased, and then he throws it up to the far side, and incomplete pass. That was a dangerous play.
Now it looks like you have another Pioneer down on that play. Gosh, you hate to see
Cam
that.
Lee. It looks like that's Cam Lee that is slow to get up.
Yeah, a lot of these Pioneers have been getting slow to get up. I mean, it's been a hard-hitting football game, Brian.
It's a 3rd down for the Pioneers.
And once again, when you got a lot of kids on the Duchesne roster who are playing on both sides of the ball, and it's 10:30 at night on a Friday after an entire day of school. It's a long day for these kids, and I'll tell you what, I don't know how they do it sometimes.
It's a long day for this kid, I'll tell you that. As Baker Mays lines up once again from the shotgun, and looks like Cougars on the stunt. They hand the ball off to number 9. He tries to take the corner, and he does not get anywhere as Jarriott is brought down pretty quickly.
And you got to wonder, now you're at 4th down, and we're down to 38 seconds left in this ball game, Brian. Cougars are obviously going to win this game. Got to wonder here, does Coach Elmendorf say, hey, let's try one more shot into the end zone?
Clyde Clark was in on the tackle on that one, and it's going to be 4th and 11. And if he's going to try one more shot to the end zone, he's going to have to hurry up here pretty quickly with 20 seconds left in the game.
Looks like he is.
Doug, why not throw it up, right?
I would. I 100% would go for the end zone here.
So Baker Mays takes the snap, and
I don't understand that.
I do not understand that either.
The
Ball
clock
thrown
is
out
running.
to the flats.
I don't get it.
Cam Lee caught it, and that is the end of the ball game. Cougars victorious 56-19 over crosstown rivals Duchesne Pioneers.
And we will look forward to seeing you next week when the Cougars host Herman.
Good evening.